Well, very good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this very zen flight deck sim live stream. I didn't realise how relaxing this music was. Hope you're all doing well. It's currently 10 to 5 in the UK. It's the 7th of October 2020 in the United Kingdom. Firstly, can I apologise to the start of the delay to the start of this stream. I had something come up very last minute, which required me to nip out, but managed to get back in good time. And now we're all ready to go. Now, we're back in Microsoft Flight Simulator, a country we have actually never visited before. We're going to be taking a look at Japan, and the timing of this could not have been any better. Microsoft have just recently updated a whole Japan update, where essentially they've updated the country to make it look extremely realistic and extremely cool. And as part of that update, they have included something called the Tour of Japan, the Discovery flight, which takes us from Nagasaki Airport to Haneda International in Tokyo. So this is what we're going to be doing today in the King Air. Now, the flight takes around 2 hours 43 minutes. Will probably be about 3 hours or so, because the idea is they include a really cool routing for us. So we're going to pop off and look at all of these landmarks on the way. Now, we are using the default King Air. Obviously, it's not a high quality in-depth King Air which you get from an equivalent payware model or something like that. We're taking a few shortcuts with the checklist, but I am going to be flying it as realistically as possible with all the numbers. So all the power settings, so the torque power settings, the RPM settings we'll be using are based off actual pitch and power settings from the real King Air. So we're going to be using all of those, and then we're going to fly VFR along the included route, sort of simulating a kind of like an air taxi service, where we'll be popping off and looking at all these fantastic visual landmarks along the way. And then when we get to Tokyo, we'll go IFR and fly an ILS approach using the Navigraph charts. Now, I changed the music for this start here because it sounded very zen, but now all of a sudden it's stopped and I've got this kind of awkward silence. So I'm going to put back here, hold on, sound here, it's colour 2. There's the new Microsoft music. Apply and save. Okay, it's not working at all. Well, hopefully that's not the start of the side of today's live stream. Let's just crack on with the flight anyway, and I'll turn some background music on anyway here with my music playlist. There we go. We should get some music coming up very soon. So I'm going to now jump into the simulator. Oh, going to go to the Tour of Japan. Hold on here. There we go. And yeah, press fly. Now, it starts on the runway with the engines running, unfortunately, but we're still going to step through the checklist and go through there and enjoy this flight. Now, why is there no music coming through at all? Can you guys hear any music in the background here? I can't for some reason. Oh, right. Screw that, guys. Screw that, guys. So basically, what happened was on my sound mixer, I had my PC music all down, so I couldn't actually hear. I couldn't actually hear the fact that we still had the background music in the background, so it's my fault. I knocked it there. Now, you can all thumbs up the video if you're enjoying the professional live stream performance. Oh no. But yeah, unfortunately, I accidentally knocked the controls down on my joystick. Not my joystick, my little sound mixer, because the cable got twisted around. It's like a little volume dial there. But yeah, that's been fixed now. At least I now found what the issue was. So yeah, here we are in Nagasaki. Now I'm going to fire up the Navigraph charts here, because I spent around half an hour yesterday making sure that the routing, that the pre-filed routing that we have here is actually filed on the Navigraph chart. So let me just fire this up for you here. Give me 2 seconds. Hopefully that'll work. There you are. So we're going to be using the included routing here with Microsoft Flight Simulator, popping off all the landmarks. The great thing is they've included them all here in the flight plan. So these are all existing RNAV waypoints here, and it's also programmed in the nav log. But we're going to try and go low and slow over some of these places. So the first place we're going to see is the Chikugo River Lift Bridge. We've got several bridges to fly over, some shrines, some castles. Mount Fuji, and then going onwards to Tokyo. So lots of places to see here. Some parts will climb slightly higher. There isn't so much, say, for example, between Akashi, Kaikyo Bridge until we get to Mount Fuji, so we'll probably go up to like 16,000 feet. We're going to use some conventional navigation. There's some VORs here along the way. But yes, I've plotted all of this with Navigraph, so we can use, in some places, existing airways. Otherwise, we use the RNAV waypoints and the VOR. And then when we get closer, I'm going to go IFR, and we'll fly an instrument approach into Tokyo Haneda. But yeah, it's just a bit of fun, guys. I haven't been in Microsoft Flight Simulator for a while, and Tokyo is a country we've not explored, and I thought it'd be great fun to do it. Would use the included flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, because of my rubbish start there with the music, I just wanted to say again a massive thank you to everyone that contributed to the Concord stream last Friday, where we raised, I think it's closed now, we raised nearly £5,000 for the UK Ambulance. So bravo to all of you, thank you so much for helping me do that. And I got some nice comment back from them, saying thank you very much, and we'll look forward to supporting some more charities when we get to 70,000 subscribers. So thank you everyone with regards to doing that. Otherwise, I hope you're all doing very well. Got lots of the members in as usual, and some new faces too. I see some people saying, "Oh, I'm very happy to." Did I say Tokyo is a country? Japan, this beautiful country of Japan. And of course, as you well know, I'm actually living here. I fly for Japan Airlines. Right, anyway, so we're in the King Air. Takeoff power, we're all pretty much ready to go. For takeoff, pretty much set full power, set the torque to 100%. Monitor the interstate turbine temperature. I've been learning about how to operate a turboprop. RPM will bring back to 1600 RPM in the climb, and then we'll maintain about 140 knots. Initially, we're going to climb to around 2,500 feet. So, first things first, I'm going to set 2,500 feet here on the altimeter. We're going to synchronise the heading bug. Speed, well, there's no auto throttle here, but we'll reference the speed if we want to climb later on at 140. There we go. Let's turn on the taxi lights. All the forward-facing lights are on. The probes want to come on as well. Pitot probes. There we go. So we've got no master cautions. We're pretty much all ready to go. So yeah, the flight's going to be about 3 hours. Popping into all these places, have a bit of fun. If you guys want me to do so in particular, I'll keep an eye out as well. We'll keep tracking the progress on the Navigraph chart as well. And I'm sure some of you might have already completed this flight as well. As I said, it was already complete. It came with the Microsoft update, the Japan update recently. I've got all my Xbox controller connected for the voices as well. The voices, the views. Yeah, what I'm going to try and do for a bit of fun, jumping back into the flight deck because it's so loud here. We'll imagine that so we've chartered this flight. Someone's chartered this flight to stop at all these places, and I'm going to take a screenshot of every single one of these landmarks, and after we've landed in Tokyo, we're going to look at all the screenshots we've taken, make sure we have a screenshot of every single one of these landmarks, just for a bit of fun. So we're going to simulate that we're also doing some aerial photography work anyway. Right, so we've got the flaps set for approach, which is also the takeoff flap setting. My feet on the rudder pedals. It's just preset weather, which I think is pretty much, it's a ice a day basically. Cav okay, calm winds, clear skies, standard pressure, and early in the morning here local time, so it should be a really enjoyable visual flight here. Alright, so we'll release the brakes and then we'll set takeoff power now. There we are. So it does seem to put things over limits slightly, saying takeoff power here. Look, it's already over 100 on the torque, and the turbine temperatures increase slightly. So as soon as I get airborne, I bring the power back just to get the torque pin limit. It seems to accelerate quite slowly on the runway as well. Rotation speed's about 85 knots or so in the King Air. Notice there's one coming up. There we are. So there's 85 knots. We'll start rotating, and we're airborne. We'll raise the landing gear, get the aircraft to accelerate to 140 knots. Which I think is the best two-engine climb speed for the King Air. What's quite funny is when I did my instrument rating, I did in the real aircraft I used we flew the Seneca, but actually some of the simulators we used were based off a King Air flight deck. They actually had a King Air flight deck and stuff. Now I can barely remember how to operate it and stuff, but yeah, I actually did part of my instrument rating on a King Air simulator, fixed base simulator. Right, I've been learning how to use this as well. We'll we'll have a play of that later. I'm going to bring that power back now to around 80 units of torque. Let's centralise the navigational display, zoom in slightly. And we're currently routing towards FU200. We've only got 1,000 feet to go, a little high on the speed, so I'm going to pitch up back a little more, and we'll just bring the RPM back to 1,600 RPM. And that's pretty much where it stays for the entire flight duration. 1611, 1593, not quite synced up there, 60, 62. There we are, RPMs all synced. And there's 2,500 feet. Well, there we go, so we'll level off here. And yeah, we'll get the automation in later on. We're just going to enjoy the flight, and then we bring the power back as well into the cruise. Whoops, starting to descend at 100 feet or so. There we go. Anthony, hope you're doing well. Banzai, he says. Superb. So the first landmark is going to be coming up soon. And that is the Chikugo River Lift Bridge. Now, here at Flight Sim, not only do you learn how to fly an aircraft, you're also going to get some educational pinpoints about all our landmarks today. I have the Wikipedia page up for everywhere we're flying over, so you can enjoy some educational aspects of today's stream. You'll know so much about Japanese bridges and all the landmarks between Nagasaki and Tokyo. You'll be in awe. Your friends will all be in awe. But that's one of the reasons why I love this simulator, is because the world below your the world you're flying over is replicated in 3D. It's so cool. You can go and explore these places. It looks just like real life. Tokyo Simulations had my 737 simulator. I respect your level of experience more now that I've experienced first-hand flying for the right-hand seat after being used to the left-hand seat. Thank you very much. I'm glad your sim went well, V1 Simulations. How exciting. Yes, operating in a different seat can be a bit strange as well, even more so if you haven't actually flown in any seat, if you're in a desktop simulator only. But yeah, I remember switching over to the left-hand seat last year, and it took some getting used to. Just a tad high. Just going to bring that power back to 73 is fine. I think they said about 80, and this can cruise around 230 knots or so. But we're now overhead FU200 inbound to Hazmi waypoint. The CDI here is aligned to the FMC. Well, the FMC, the nav database. So the great thing is the fly right, fly left indications are based off your GPS track, which is really cool. I've learned to respect and enjoy these nav displays now. I've been practicing a little bit. I didn't have anything as fancy as this when I did my instrument rating. I did mine on a Seneca 2, steam gauges, had a very basic GPS, but the modern navigation suites are just so user-friendly. It really doesn't take much to learn how to use them properly. Keep my cat. What is the bridge on the approach to Faro called? No clue. Probably flown over it several times. There we go. Here is Nagasaki, obviously very famous for the wrong reasons, unfortunately. But, I think it has quite a bustling population now. And approaching waypoint Hazmi. Should cycle to the next waypoint very shortly. This makes me really miss flying VFR. I think this sim is so rewarding for flying VFR. Very realistic as well. The way it looks. I've been looking at Microsoft doing some comparison pictures, so they're comparing real life to the sim, and some of them are really quite impressive. Really hard to tell the difference here. So there we are, nice and stable. Inbound to Ceuta now. So geographically right at the bottom of the country. Well, not right at the bottom, in the southwest, but there's quite a few more islands and stuff to explore. But I think this flight sort of absorbs and takes in many of the main key areas, this part of the flight here. But yeah, really enjoyable. Still hand flying. So you know, this aircraft probably is not the most economical cruise setting I have at the moment. But I've seen that it can typically cruise at 230 knots. Obviously, this aircraft's far capable of going much higher. It's got a pressurised cockpit as well, but obviously we're doing some low level stuff. We will climb higher between some of the other landmarks en route as well. Leonard TVG, I just cannot wait for the 737 on Flight Sim 2020. Yeah, it's going to be great. PMDG unfortunately pushing theirs back to the last quarter next year, isn't it? So I think it's going to be another year until we get that. But I'm sure between then and now we'll have some great high quality aircraft to fly in Flight Simulator from third-party operators. Now, I did have a think about what stream we could do today in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I did fire up the default jumbo jet. It's completely broken. The autopilot, it tries to kill you. It cannot maintain altitude. Many of the systems aren't quite correct. It's a default aircraft, great for guys who are just having a bit of fun in the sim, but yeah, this is sort of the biggest aircraft I dare fly, and I've been told that most of the systems are working quite well on this. Thank you very much to LG4S who's just joined as a member. Welcome aboard, and you'll get invited to our members only Discord. The group flights, our next members only group flight is being organised for this weekend, so that's great. And I hope you enjoy your custom emojis in chat as well. Thank you very much for the support. Right, so there we are. We're approaching our first landmark as we are overhead Kyoto. You can see I'm also progressing or monitoring our flight on Navigraph. Well, I'm not actually right now, but you can see here we are inbound to well, I've actually got the Saga VOR. Now Saga is a I think this airport's on reclaimed land here. Now we have got a VOR altitude 1475, so let's see if I can remember how to do that whilst hand flying. Tune up VOR, so you press split, I think it's flight plan, nav 1 frequency, VOR was 11475, transfer, and we can now go full, and you can click bearing pointers. So there we are, we now have a blue RMI pointing towards the VOR there. You see the blue RMI, and then we can see the DME distance as well. Yeah, very user friendly. Once you know what you're doing, it's a great system. Oh look, I forgot to start the timer. Oops. Yeah, once you get used to using all these features, it's quite user friendly. Now, how do I close the screen here? Split. No, cancel. Full. There we go. Cool. Anyway, let's have a look out for the Chikugo River lift bridge. Are you ready for your tidbit of information today, guys? About the Chikugo River lift bridge. So the bridge we're about to fly over is a vertical lift railway bridge across the Chikugo River in Japan. It was completed in 1935, and the bridge has a total length of 507 meters. There you go. I'd make a great flight experience flight instructor around this part of the world. And we're about to fly right over it. And no, I'm not going to fly under the bridge, if anyone asks. We're going to go past, we'll descend down to 2,000 feet. There we go. So just reduce a little bit of power. I'll preset 2,000. And you can see that the VOR is depicted on the navigational display as well. That's the blue box here, and the magenta line is the GPS routing. So you can see the GPS is telling me to fly left, the VOR is to the right here as well. Dropped a little bit below 2,000. Set that power again. So about 70 units of torque. I don't know what the actual phrase is regarding a torque setting. But let's have a look out for this bridge. Should be just off to our left, I believe. Well, there's several bridges here, one of these ones here, and I need to remember get a screenshot. Oops, just a bit low here. 2,000. We'll try and get a screenshot of this bridge for our as we are a full-time photography company, and we're going to have a look at all the screenshots we take. Yeah, if you any guys here with a bit of experience flying turboprops, I'd love your input here. I've never flown a turboprop. Very lucky to go straight from flight training school onto a commercial airline, jet airliner. So all I've ever flown, largest prop aircraft I've flown is the Seneca, then straight onto the 737. Right, where is this river bridge. Looks like on the map it intersects where these two rivers are. I think there it is, guys. That is the Chikugo River Lift Bridge. Now, screenshot wise, are we going to take it from the cockpit or from the external view? Torque is measured in litres per square inch of mercury times pounds. Wonderful. But what do they say? You know, we refer in the jet as our main thrust as N1. Do they refer it to as a torque? We set our power to 80% torque, or that's what I wasn't sure. Anyway, let's take the first screenshot of our first landmark. Are you ready? There we go. Oops, I don't think that worked. There we are, screenshot saved. So there's our first landmark. We've taken a screenshot nicely in trim here. So we need to now make a left turn. And we've got a while to now. We've got to go up to Kanmon Bridge. Alright, so we're going to make a left turn here. ETA to Itoda is 8 minutes, so probably another 10 minutes to Kanmon Bridge. I might climb a little bit higher. If we reference the Navigraph charts here, you can have a look at our grid Mora, what's our minimum safety height. So you see it's 5,400. We should probably climb to above that height to ensure that we don't hit anything. I mean, we are VFR and VMC, so, you know, we are responsible for terrain clearance, but this is your grid Mora. So ideally go up to 6,000 feet. I mean, on this track, the semicircular are all VFR. Isn't it? It's either 5,500 or 7,500, so I think we'll go up to 5,500 VFR, so I'm going to set climb up here, that way we know we don't want to hit anything. 5,500 coming up, and then we can descend back down to see the Kanmon Bridge a little later. So 5,500, a bit too much power there, look, see my torque's blinking at me, I think it's about 80 for the climb. Perfect. Best climb speed I think is 140 knots. Whether they have a cruise climb speed like the Seneca did, not too sure. Achievement unlocked. Plain Old Ben is here. 80% of the talk, he says. Yes, well, Plain Old Ben's one of my members. He used to fly the Dash 8, so he would definitely know how to operate a turboprop. But 80% torque seems reasonable. RPM, I think you leave it 1600 RPM in the King Air to climb. Gary C forgot the stream was on at 4. We actually started at 4:45 because I had a little personal reason to having to delay the stream. Had to get some stuff sorted, but all good. Andrew Stephenson, are we going to take bets on how many crash to desktops he's going to experience during this flight? I tested it yesterday, Andrew, although I wasn't, you know, I just have the autopilot on, and I managed to get to Tokyo. However, Tokyo is an FPS killer. It's, yeah, very frame heavy. It's trying to generate all these buildings in 3D. It was playable, but right now, performance is great, hopefully. No issues. As we go up to 5,500 feet. Thanks for subscribing, Andrew Stephenson. Welcome aboard, sir. Charlie Alpha 11 F3B cruise climbs 170 to 180. Let's do 180 knots then. We only have 1,000 feet to go though, and I might just get the autopilot in briefly for this segment here. But I think the power settings are quite routine. 80% torque, and leave the RPM at around 15 to 1600 in the King Air. I have been reading. I still find it really rewarding, you know, learning or looking at manuals and learning how to fly these aircraft properly, even though obviously I get to fly the 737 every day, but same with Concorde. I love learning how to fly that. When I say learning how to fly it, I probably didn't do it much justice, but same for any aircraft. It's nice to use the real, you know, power settings, pitch power, and it all seems to work well in the King Air. I think there's obviously a lot of features missing with these systems, but it's working well. Right, we climbed around 180, there's 5,500. Listen, if you don't like this stream flight, we'll get his Japanese residency revoked. So yes, guys, if you don't know, I do try and keep my operator tight-knit, but I might have let it slip a few times. I do, in fact, work for a country based in Japan. I'm not going to give any more information apart from that. Thank you very much, I am Paris, for the £4.56. Would totally listen to a flight deck sim narrated audio guide in some kind of aviation museum. Cheers, Captain. Thanks, Iron Paris. Yeah, next time you go to Duxford or some aerial museum, and you know when you push the button to get all the history, you might hear my voice here going on about how this aircraft flew in what war, did this and that. Thanks a lot, Iron. But guys, every single landmark we're flying over, I've got my facts about it. You're going to learn lots about this great country. There's 5.5, just get it trimmed out for around 230 knots. Oops, just descending a little bit quickly. That should do us. Right, so let's put altitude on, nav, autopilot. What's it not happy about? Autopilot, yaw damper on. Whoa! Okay, let's disconnect the autopilot. So I thought I had 5,500 feet set in the altitude window. It seems to have reset itself. Again, that might have been something I did or a bug with the sim, not sure. I'd like to think the latter. Right, there's 5,500. Let's make sure we're in trim. There we are, perfectly in trim. Synchronized to current altitude. No, I didn't. Why is that open for? Right, let's try that again. Autopilot. Is it going to capture 5,500? It is. And nav. FMS. Engage autopilot. Okay. Am I going to have to hand fly this entire sector? Heading select. Heading. Is the autopilot on? Okay. It would seem the autopilot is not working, so I'm going to have to hand fly this entire sector. Jeez. Why is it when I test it, always things work perfectly? And now nothing's working at all. Right, 5,500. Do I have to have a flight director on? Sure, bug with the sim. You got it, Kurash, yeah. You can always blame your excuses on that. Right, 5,500. Let's just get everything off again. So, nav. Heading.
Engaging autopilot.
What? Now that's definitely in. But now it's going down to 5,500 again. I mean, Jesus.
Engaging autopilot.
Disengage. Right, let's try that again. So, I think this switch... forced disconnection. It's spring loaded, so it returns to the center. I was presuming it's like a 737 where you hold it down. Right, 5,500 trim. It's really aggressive with the trim. Like, I had it perfectly in trim, but the autopilot's put a load of nose down trim in there while it's just trying to descend. Autopilot. Where are we going? I mean, why is it saying 0 feet for? I don't know. I'm very sure I'm screwing something up, of course, but everything I did yesterday is not working. It's just doing a massive nosedive. It's saying 0 feet here on the autopilot, so I want to obviously say 5,500. Let me just turn off everything. Flight directors, yaw damper.
Engaging autopilot.
That doesn't engage it, it's basically just re-arming the disconnect switch, and we'll go from there. Right, we're approaching Itoda. Right, try one more time. So, synchronized to current altitude. Right, 5,500 is now set on the bug. Okay. I'm now going to engage altitude. Now, look, 5,500, that's now worked. Nav, autopilot. Right, that has now worked. Yaw damper's on. So for some reason, I don't know, it must have been something I was doing. it went to 0 feet. It's now actually maintaining 5,500. We're on FMS, so it's following the magenta line. And there we go. Switch it off and then on again. Anti-mouse 123, the fixer of so many different problems. Well, after all that, I actually want to start descending because we're about to fly over our next landmark, which is Kanmon Bridge. I mean, just like little things like that. I mean, Kanmon Bridge, 4 minutes. Well, yeah, if we descend at 1,000 feet per minute now, we should be around 1,500 feet when we get there. So let's go down. I'm going to use the autopilot now. Please don't kill me. Vertical speeds. Down we go at 1,000 feet per minute. Just take a little bit of power off so we don't overspeed. And keep the RPM where it is at 1,600 RPM. Let's maintain around 220 knots. Looking good. Let's go for a little external view. Oh, my Xbox controller's gone off. Hold on. Let me turn it back on. You might see a little freeze for a second. There we go. They fixed that. It still freezes a bit, but before it was really bad. There we are. Approaching Monji, which is roughly where the bridge is. That's the waypoint I chose, so looking good. The city to the north of us, this is here, Kitakyushu. This is Kitakyushu here. Lovely. Momad New, what is... It's in the QRM. What's a QRM? I don't even know what it is. I've heard QNH 2976 of Japan. I think they use inches of mercury here, not 100% sure. If you touch the yoke-mounted trim button in the real aircraft, it will disconnect the autopilot in the real King Air, same as the 737 Charlie Alpha. But I wasn't touching the trim with the autopilot engaged. But you do little things like tidy this up, though. I mean, like vertical speeds, it overlaps the black box there. But it's working. It does work. You set a vertical speed of 1,000 feet per minute. It is giving me 1,000 feet per minute, so... Very good. And this is the... Kanmon Bridge we're approaching. There we are. I'm guessing that's ahead. There's the showcase camera, the drone, which you can use the Xbox controller to control here. It is a beautiful game. I'm so impressed with how the world looks underneath. That's the main attraction to this, really. Just need some decent aircraft, that's all. They've done well. The default aircraft, they've done well. Well enough. Right, approaching 1,500 feet then. Guys, are you ready for your facts on the Kanmon Bridge in Japan? I've been learning. Kanmon Bridge then. It's a suspension bridge crossing the Kanmon Straits, which is where we're flying over. It's a stretch of water separating two of Japan's 4 main islands. On the Honshu side of the bridge is Shimonoseki, which contributed Kan to the name of the strait. And on the Kyushu side is Kitakyushu, whose former city and present ward, Moji, gave the strait its name. There you go. You can't fly under bridges in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yes, I found that out the hard way. It's very solid. So yes, this here on the left is Shimonoseki. This is Shimonoseki here on the left. And here is the suspension bridge. So I think we'll go outside for this as well, for my screenshot for the photography company. Quite impressive that we can do the external view at the same time. I had a bit of power here because we just leveled off. There we go. I'm just looking at the torque here. It's probably 70 units. Wonderful. Thank you, autopilot, for the great assistance. That's going to be a good screenshot. I'm going to get into this picture here. There you go, Mr. and Mrs. Whoever we have in the back here today. I hope you're enjoying your flight so far. Next then, we have the Itsukushima Shrine. That's going to be about 15-20 minutes or so. So, let's again look at the low altitude charts. Just make sure I'm not going to hit anything here. Looking good for now. Low altitude charts. And I'll show you guys where we're flying to now. So there's Yankee Sierra Kilo, and then to Oyster. Now Oyster again is pretty much not directly overhead, but very close to where the shrine is. But we're going to climb up now to the minimum safety altitude for this sector based off the grid Mora. Where's my grid Mora? 5558. So again on this sector, I think we're going to go up to 7,500 feet. Yeah, let's go up to 7,500 feet. Again, that's going to keep us out of the way of terrain. Or I can keep it low, it's up to you. I'll let you guys decide in chat over the next minute. Do you want to go up to 7,500 feet, or we stay low for this next path? I'll obviously have to take the autopilot at some point, otherwise we'll be getting quite close to the ground. Mr. and Mrs. Jim, fantastic. Kick my cat, does anyone know if he's pronouncing it correctly? Absolutely. Of course I am. Andy Moose 123 on 1 took a train from Osaka to Shikoku. It was a magnificent journey. I've yet to visit one place Mara and I do wish to visit. So we can't wait. Oops, I just realised left the Navigraph charts on. Sorry about that. Low. Low, of course. Water level. Alright then, I might do some low flying. We'll stay at 1,500 feet. I'll leave the autopilot in here for a bit to take a breather once we fly en route. But I will do some hand flying low to the ground towards Itsukushima Shrine soon. Set a little bit more power, otherwise we'll never get there. 80% torque. That should just about keep us under VMO. Obviously, as we're quite low to the ground, quite the air density is quite thick here, so the prop's taking big chunks of air, which is why we're going so fast. Magpie 1080 running flight sim 2020 is a stretch. It's okay. I'm thinking of getting well, I'm probably going to upgrade my entire PC next year instead of just the graphics card, but I mean, for me it's fine for now. Performance is okay. I'm running high end, not on ultra. It looks okay. Do you do poker in real life, says Oliver Charles? No, I don't do butter or go around. Sweet. Let's see where we're flying over now on the world map. So, to the right we have Sano Onada. That's the city here to the right. Next town's going to be Yamaguchi. Blasting over at 1,500 feet, around 230 knots. Yeah, this has been 500. That you got it. Still does it. I might even do an impromptu touch and go on the way. We'll see. I don't think there's any airfields for this sector, but we'll probably have to climb a little higher than 1,500 as the terrain gets a little bit more mountainous. But right now we're doing quite nicely. Captain Abdurim says, "Have a nice flight." Thank you. Aristocrat, flight sim set Navigraph to world map should be good. I have it on world map. I just haven't showed you. There you go. So I keep switching between low altitude charts and world map so I can see geographically where we are. It's a great utility as well. I don't usually talk too much about my operator, but we're actually having an update soon where on our work iPads we'll have our with GPS as well, so they'll be using the GPS from the iPads to be able to track our progress on our electronic charts, which is really cool. So I'll have a sort of Navigraph charts at work, although we use a different chart system. Oliver Charles is boring. If I try and do Boga at work, that's going to require some serious explaining. Ooh, Let's see how close to the ground we can get at 1500 feet here. I'm just going to leave the autopilot in here. Some nice dense forest here. Love this, it looks so good. I'm gonna be picking up some branches soon. That's finally close enough. There we was, did you hear it? 500. I mean, it looks just spectacular, doesn't it? So good. Wicked. So now here is, on the left here, Yamaguchi. One big flapper boy, how high are you flying? Flight into sim, I was flying at 9,000 feet. We're currently at 1,500 feet. As requested. Parasim, how accurate is the weather now since the last patch? Not sure. The first time I fired up the Microsoft Flight Simulator in a while was yesterday. That was to try this flight. I've not actually done any custom flights. As I said a few minutes ago, I was planning on doing this flight Nagasaki Tokyo in the 7.4, the default one, but this it's just not that great. The autopilot doesn't fly accurately. The pitch and power is all wrong. It's just not a fun experience. The King Airs, the light aircraft are obviously easy to model because they're smaller, less things to think about, but they fly a little bit more realistically. So yeah, I'm not going to be flying the default jets unless it was like a comical stream. But this stream is just a chilled out stream. Like I said, I do these occasionally. I know these split streams we did quite popular as well, so I might do some. I want to do some more Explain 11 stuff soon because I want to really fly the FlyJSim 727 soon. Doing a 2-sector cargo flight. I might do like a later night one. I have a few days on furlough this week, but next week I am flying. I'm doing a full week of flying again, so I will be busy. But I'm hoping to do a long kind of 2-sector cargo stream in the FlyJSim 727 soon. Some more Zebo stuff as well, of course. Right, let's disconnect the autopilot here because you're heading straight towards a mountain at 1500 feet. We'll go nice and low though over Yankee Sierra Kilo, and then we'll head off towards the Itsukushima Shrine. Just gonna climb slightly here. Going through this little gap here.
500.
Wicked. Awesome stuff. So what I'm going to do here is set a slightly higher altitude and we'll disregard it. So we'll do some low flying VMC in between these little valleys, have a bit of fun. That's one of the things I miss from light aircraft flying, is that freedom. You know, you can fly, obviously respect the 500 foot rule. You'll be 500 foot away from any person, building, object. But yeah, I used to fly over around a few places at 500 feet and really enjoyed that, the liberty it gave you, the freedom which you just don't get now. I don't think this routing, say, really respects any airspace constraints or anything like that. I think it's just to take in the scenery. Threading the pine needles there, said 2 tons of love. Yes. Might have inhaled some. So here's the next RNAV waypoint, Yankee Sierra Kilo. There's a little bit of turbulence in the sim as well. That's not me, I'm just lightly holding the controls, like you can see that the joystick's pretty still. The control column. Just naturally bumping, I think, just from thermals and probably a little bit of wind lifting off from the mountains. Steve Baxter, can you explain if there are much differences between an RMP approach? Well, an RMP approach is an approach based off GNSS navigation or or area navigation, so it's typically not designed off conventional nav aids. They're just off waypoints built in space. If you type in YouTube Flight Data Sim RNAV tutorial, that'll pretty much explain everything you need to know about RNAV tutorials. That was flown in the PMDG NGX a while back now. And when we're operating an aircraft like the 737, we're just essentially utilising the FMC to fly the pre-programmed routes, and it flies it very accurately using LNAV and VNAV. Might need to add a bit of power here to get over this hill. Let's judge that slowly. There we go. Blipped over.
500.
Nice and low. Lovely. I mean, look at that here. I mean, that is someone's, probably a paddy field or something out there. I don't know. Power lines. Probably don't want to fly too much lower. No, how nice at 2,500 feet. Approaching the Itsukushima Shrine. So nicely maintained 2,500 feet. Power about 75% torque. Inbound to the Itsukushima Shrine. I'm ready to tell you all about that as well. So cool. Don't get great visibility from the aircraft here. Tim Fraser, welcome back as a member. Glad you're okay, sir. And I hope you're doing really well. Catch up with you later on Discord. You know, you can always feel free to drop me a message at any point. And welcome back on board. Javier's outside perspective makes me anxious with that terrain. Yeah, it's a little bit low to the ground. Yeah, I mean, engine failure wise, if you have a dual engine failure, really limited on your options. I'd pretty much exchange that excessive airspeed for altitude as soon as possible, and then head off towards flatter terrain straight away. I mean, oh, it's not nice, not ideal here. Probably somewhere in this valley. There you go. Look, I'll probably head off towards that straight bit. No, thank you. Up to around 3,000 feet now. Dentist Doodly Lion. I like your voice. It's so calm. Thanks. That's 2 compliments on my voice today. Yourself and Ian Perez, who I think just over 20 minutes ago said that my voice could narrate an audio guide in an aviation museum. What compliments I'm getting today. Dogoy, not impressed with the actual terrain being very low res. That could be down to the fact of my settings, maybe, Dogoy. I'm on high end. My PC's running the streaming software as well as Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, yeah, I mean, it's, for me, it's more than enough acceptable. Maybe I need a slightly beefier PC. Who knows? But it's looking lovely. Greg Scott, not calm when you're flying an Airbus. We need to jump in that toeless Airbus. I know there's a Zibo equivalent in Microsoft Flight Simulator, or someone's developing one, but again, I don't know how good that is. It's probably best I stay well clear. Very good. Put a little bit of light music on in the background. Very good. Vladimir? I know, I've been fooling people for 3 years. 3 years I've been pretending to be a pilot, and I can't believe no one has managed to work it out yet. Sounds way too young to be a pilot. I'm in my very early 30s, but I was flying when I was 20, 21. Marianne always found it very amusing because it didn't look like I shouldn't be flying an aeroplane. I'll contest to that. So yeah, look, you can see actually we're running a low res. Like, it's really struggling to load this in the simulator. I've not seen that before. I don't know if that's my internet. I've not seen it. I've seen it be a bit slow before, but yeah, it seems to be struggling to load in the next bit of where I'm flying. Let's try and maintain around 3,000 feet now. And we'll shortly start our descent. We're only 2.5 minutes, to be fair, from the shrine. So let's actually, as soon as we get over this mountain here, we'll start our descent as well. I'm just going to set 3,000 feet here. Just take a little bit of power off. So, guys, are you ready for your Itsukushima Shrine facts? Okay. I hope you're listening in the back there, Mr. and Mrs. Jim. Someone said. So, the Itsukushima Shrine is a Shinto shrine on the island of Itsukushima, best known as the Floating Gate. There we go. Its origins from year 593? That's incredible. I've seen this already when I was doing this test flight. It's like a little shrine. It's 1,500 years old. That's crazy. Religious significance. It's a religious site. Wow. I don't think the shrine as it stands, this bridge, is from that year, but how fascinating. Right, let's start descending as we're about to approach the shrine here.
Landing here.
Oh, don't you start. It's not going off at one. Well, that's a nice steep rate of descent. But you paid for the flights in the back there. You want a photograph of your shrine? We will get a photograph of your shrine. In Japan, everything is old, except they have the most reliable train system and cars and whatever, like, everywhere. Remarkable, really. But a lot of history to this place. Right, can I see anything ahead? Might go straight over the top of it here. Let's get us trimmed out for around 200 knots. Add a bit of power here. It's not, I don't think it's loaded in properly, isn't it? There. Might have to do a little orbit to let it load in. This is the whole shrine, I think. But isn't there like a little bridge or something? Or a little something or other? Where's it gone? Oh no! It was definitely there, wasn't it? It was. I'm gonna have to turn back. I need to take my screenshot. I swear there's meant to be. I think that there is meant to be the shrine. Oh no, right. I've got to get a picture of it, so I said I'd get a screenshot of everything here. So a little bit of left rudder to coordinate the turn. I'm not in a 737 anymore. You missed it. I know, that's why I'm turning around. It's high tide to gate is underwater. I think it'll be a lot of cities underwater as well if it wasn't quite there. Right, let's increase that bank angle to around. We're already at 45 degrees nearly. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. There's meant to be some sort of very famous bridge. I don't like the shaking I'm getting in the aircraft either. We'll head straight towards it. Oh, there it is. No, my lack of photography skills. 3G turn. Actually, technically 45-degree angular bank is a 2G turn. Right, here we go. Let's buzz the shrine. Yeah, this angle I'm coming in isn't that great. I'm heading straight towards the terrain. Also fun. Guys, I'm having so much fun. I love this. There's the 500. Here comes the screenshot. Screenshot taken. Right, let's get out of here. Oh my god. Full power for this bit. There we go. Nothing to see here. Next landmark. Great tour. Adrian Cossier. Yes. Feedback can be left after landing. Yeah, TripAdvisor, you know, appreciate a good review. We're currently on 2 out of 5 stars, based on the fact that most of the flights end up we end up going swimming. So, right, next waypoint then, which is the Tatara Bridge, I believe, and that is 37 miles away, 10 minutes. Lovely. Buzz the Shrine, God's not happy with you. Let's go back up to 3,000. To the Tatara Bridge. And we'll go to 3,000 feet now. Awesome. 100% realistic. I know, and I get some people get very upset when I stream Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment, but it's, guys, a bit of fun, bit of a chill stream for me. As I said, I still will always revolve around core, realistic IFR flying in commercial jet airliners. Don't you worry. But this is fun. This is goddamn fun. And I'm learning a lot about Japan. There it is, 3,000. Bring that power back again. 80%. I'm just going to get the automation in for a second. So, altitude. Autopilot. Nav. Oops, it's set to 3,100, so 3,000. Vertical speed. And it's capturing 3,000 feet now. Is the autopilot in? I really don't like this. It's hard to tell if the autopilot's in or not.
Engaging autopilot.
It is now. Nav, FMS. Very hard to tell. I'm sure there's meant to be an FMA here that says autopilot's in. I think it's that green autopilot yaw damper, but this disconnect switch, it's hard to tell if it's been disconnected or not. 3,000 feet. It's slowly going down for me. Just take a bit of power off there. Cool. And breathe. Hugh Martin, I'm an aerospace engineering student. As I graduate, I'll get an ATPL as well. Last year I failed in aerodynamics and I lost my motivation. I feel so dumb. Do you have any advice to get it back? Hugh, if you fail something, don't feel dumb. You know, we've all gotten through those exams or taken exams which we've perhaps failed or not passed. I mean, when I did my PPL, I mean for ATPL, I failed my meteorology exam when I first took it. I hated the subject. I felt like I'd never do it, and there are elements of the ATPL theory which I thought I'd never get through, but I mean I just had to really buck down and work hard to get it. But don't put yourself down. Keep studying those areas and you'll get it. Plain old Ben, there is a green AP on the FMA. Yes, I think I missed that there, so I think that shows the autopilot is engaged. Useful, thank you, sir. 2 tons of love. Any plans to participate in Cross the Pond in November? Yeah, if it falls on my days off, I will plan to attend. I haven't actually checked yet, but with the ongoing coronavirus, I have pretty much, I've got to have the entire winter part-time with blocks of unpaid leave starting from November, so I mean there'll be a chance I should be able to fly it, but I could fall on one of my days off. There we are, back en route towards Tatara Bridge. If you'd like to know where we are in Japan right now, let's zoom on out. We're approaching the probably a quarter waypoint, maybe a third of the way. Now, there's the Navgraph charts. Obviously, we've taken a bit of extra time by doing a little 180 around the shrine, but we're now well on the way towards our next waypoint, the Tatara Bridge, which is here. Now you can see it doesn't quite line up with the magenta line, the red line here. That's because the waypoints, I've used predetermined waypoints in the Navigraph database, which doesn't represent the waypoints in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which you see on the ND here. So that's why we're slightly off that one. But I'll be referencing that chart when we do our. We're gonna fly IFR into once we pass Mount Fuji. We'll stick to IFR. We'll choose one of the approaches and fly into Tokyo Haneda. One big flappy away. Where were you? Where were you a cadet pilot? I guess you're asking. I went to Oxford Aviation Academy. Oh, controller's turned off again, so it's probably gonna freeze for a brief second. Or breathe. Oh no. God damn. So every time you turn the Xbox controller on to use the drone camera, it freezes. I've not seen it freeze for as long as this. There we go. Now it's working. Unbelievable. Puffy Pegham, why did you want to become a pilot? I mean, apart from being obviously a childhood dream of many people, it's just what I've always wanted to do, and I managed to get into a position to do it. And before anyone asks, it's asked a lot here, how did I finance that? I had some very willing mother and stepfather, and my uncle helped me out as well. I took out a flight training loan and they secured that against their house, so I had to pay the full whack. What was it back then? It's gone up a lot now, but when I left flight training school, I had a best part of a £75,000 loan to pay off, which I only finished paying off a few years ago, but that was no disposable income for 7-8 years. It's a lot harder now. But yeah, it was just everything fell in place for me. I was very lucky, and I worked hard towards it at school, and I finished school as well. I just love the fact that we know that what we're looking down here is being replicated. You know, it's just the world is here. So cool. Right, are we approaching our next landmark? 2 minutes to go till we get to Tatara Bridge. Let me get my tour guidebook out. Ooh. I think we can see it straight ahead, guys. There is the Tatara Bridge. Although it would seem it's not connected to the island. Hopefully when we get a little bit closer it will be. So, the Tatara Bridge is a cable-stayed bridge that is part of the Nishiseto Expressway, commonly known as the Shimane Kaido. The bridge has a span of 890 metres. It was opened on the 1st of May 1999, carries 2 lanes of traffic in each direction. It was originally planned as a suspension bridge, but it was changed to a cable-stayed bridge. And it took 6 years to build. There you go. There's your fun fact of the day. Alpaca Japan Tour Airlines continues its domination of the sector. Coming up, ready to take the next screenshot. After we do the buttock hour, probably not today. 1999, that's not old. No, compared to everything else in Japan. Do you have a favourite Beatles song, Flight Deck Sim? Hey Jude or Come Together or something like that, like all of them. Alan Jr., land at Lucca if you think you are skilled. Hey, I've landed in Paro in the Zebra Mod. In fact, why don't you check out Alan Jr.? You have a link I've pinned. Click on that link, check out my Paro approach. That was probably the toughest approach I've ever done. Yes, I've pinned that there because that has all the live streams we've ever done on that page there. Right, anyway, let's take a screenshot of the Tatara Bridge. Not the best screenshot here, really. There we go, that'll do. I'm going to forget what they're all called as well when we look at these later. Right, screenshot saved, perfect. And now we are inbound 2. Ah, yes, the famous Iwakuroima Bridge. And then after that one, we'll stay low. We've got the Himeji Castle, then the bridge, and then we're going to climb quite high because we haven't got any landmarks for a while. I think we'll try and get the King Air as high as possible. That sounds like a challenge. Can someone find out the certified maximum altitude for the King Air to cruise at? Let's see if we can get it up there. Luke is alarmed with Paro. I think Luke is pretty. Paro's pretty tough in a 7.3. That took some practice, but yeah, I know. Obviously, Luke is very tough too. Luca is 1,200 feet at a 60-degree angle. I don't think it's quite 60 degrees, Alan Jr. That would be quite an epic challenge to land on. Won't pausing the sim be better for the screenshot? True, but it's just a bit of fun, Adrian. We're going to see how successful we were flying over all the landmarks, that's all. The aircraft's sitting here quite nicely. Now, plain old Ben, are you still here? Question for you, turboprop operator, because I fly turboprop. The condition levers on a turboprop. Obviously, it's a turbine, jet engine driving the fan is driving the propeller shaft. When do I use low idle and high idle? Do we just leave it in high idle flight, or these different flight regimes? I have no clue. I try to find a little bit of information on it online, but what I read I couldn't really comprehend or understand. And that's because I've never flown the turboprop. 35,000 feet, wow. Alright guys, should we try then, after we've done Akashi Kaikyo Bridge? We've got quite a bit. There's not much to see. Look, there's a few airports. Do you want to try and go to 35,000, or I could do a touch and go at Romeo Juliet Golf because the next landmark will be Mount Fuji. There's some VORs en route. Let me know. Should we poll it? Should we poll it? The options will be 35,000 feet, or I do a touch and go at Romeo Juliet Golf. I've got all my pitch and power settings to the King Air. I know what to set in the descent. I know my approach speeds. I'll see what chat says. If it looks quite tight, I'll poll it. If not, do whatever chat says. And I've got a funny feeling that touch and go will be the option preferred. Vaughan, how long did it take you to get your PPL? Vaughan, I started my PPL when I started doing my A-levels when I was 16. But it became too much for me because I was managing my A-levels. I had a part-time job as well, selling chickens, which everyone finds very amusing. So I actually stopped doing my PPL during my AS levels, so that's your first set of exams when you're in sixth form in the UK. And then I started my PPL when I finished my A levels at 18, and it took me about a year, and that was mostly from bad weather. It was really bad weather in 2008 in the winter, so I was grounded for about 3 months. It looks like 35,000 feet is the most popular there. Touch and go. I think the touch and go and 35,000 feet will be, be pushing it. I mean, how long is that going to take me to get a 35,000? Yeah, look, I mean, Mount Fuji's just there, and the airport's right between the two. There's probably several airports in between, though. fact, let me have a look at my Navigraph charts. No, there's loads of airports. Oh, I'll tell you what. Alright. After we've seen Himeji Castle, we're going to go to the Akashi Kaikyo Bridge. Can you see here this little jut of land? Here is Osaka International. So I'll tell you what we'll do. How does this sound, chat? After we've... the Kobe Port Tower, everyone's seen it. I'll see... what I'm going to do is go over the Akashi Kaikyo Bridge, and I'm going to carry on going southeast to join a base leg for... what's the runway there? Romeo Golf... Romeo Juliet Bravo Bravo. What's the orientation? So runway... they've got 06 left, 06 right. So I can join a left base for 06 left. Touch and go. So go from Kyo Bridge, 06 left, touch and go in Osaka. And as soon as I've done the touch and go, full power, well not full power, but we'll climb up to 35,000 feet inbound to the Charlie Uniform Echo VOR. How does that sound? Does that sound like a plan? Otherwise, if I do a touch and go here, we're never going to get up to 35,000. Let me know. How are we doing for fuel? I think we started this with full tanks. Yeah, we're okay. We've got auxiliary tanks as well, which is empty almost. Main tanks are full. Now, how do I know where the engines are feeding fuel from? Do you need to switch from auxiliary to main? I'm not sure. Ah, sorry. Romeo Juliet Bravo Bravo is Kansai International. Romeo Juliet Oscar Oscar is Osaka International. My apologies. Oh, yeah, I can see here. Osaka Kansai International is Romeo Juliet Bravo Bravo, apparently, according to Navigraph. So, yeah, that's where the this point here is the bridge. Just trying to get orientated here. Here's Himeji Castle. Oh, we're about to fly over our next landmark. There's the Iwakuroima Bridge. Himeji Castle's here. We'll then do the touch and go in Osaka Kansai International, which is just here on the 06 left. Anyway, let's not miss the next landmark, which we're approaching. Oh, look at that! It is huge. Look at that. Guys, I'm your tour guide, so let me tell you everything I need to know about Iwakuroima Bridge. I'm doing this by memory. The Iwakuroima Bridge, or Seikoside City Bridge, is a cable-stayed bridge with a span of 420 meters connecting both Iwakuroima and Wasashima Islands. It is identical to the Hitsukushima Bridge to the north. So there's two bridges. I guess that's the first and second. Well, about to go right over the top of it. There's quite a few airports on the artificial islands. Yeah, I think the one we're trying, Osaka Kansai International, I'm guessing that's on an artificial island, seeing it, the way it was depicted on the ND there. Land on the bridge, says Tobias. It crashes the sim, unfortunately. Vaughan Bonnet, was your PPL hard or just took a long time? It, again, requires a certain amount of effort and ability, but it is achievable for many people. For sure, like with anything, put your mind to the matter in hand, you'll get through absolutely fine. Oh, Plain, I'll bet you replied if you can find it. Hold on. The King Air works differently to the Dash. On the ground, you go low idle after landing. Prior to takeoff and leave it fully forwards. The Dash had 3 different positions we use when airborne. Interesting. Interesting. Casual Racer, there is a documentary about the airport being built. That's really cool. Oh, anyway, look at this bridge. I mean, all Japan around here is made on chains of islands. They had to build these fantastic bridges. I mean, look at it. Iwakuroima Bridge. What a great bit of engineering. Right, how do I take a screenshot of this? I think that'll do. Taken. Awesome. Next, Himeji Castle, and I think Himeji Castle definitely requires a flight past around 500 feet. And then 500 feet to Romeo and Juliet, bravo, bravo. Superb. That's broken. We're currently inbound to Himeji Castle, but it's saying here Kaikyo Bridge. So why is it... So the navigation system is definitely routing to Himeji Castle, even though it's got a white line. I'm guessing the white line means it's the inactive part of the route. Yet the active waypoint is Kaikyo Bridge, which is here. But it is definitely following the white line. Interesting. Mr. Lake, the big bridge is the Great Seto Bridge near my hometown. That's awesome. Are you in Japan now, sir? If you are, very good morning. It's very early in the morning, actually. I don't think we have too many Japanese watchers. Alan Jr., if you are a 737 pilot, have you ever flown to anywhere in Turkey? I don't discuss the routes I fly publicly, Alan Jr. That's something I choose to keep private. The members know and respect all their privacies. Do many people watching, and as many people actually have asked before, how do you get, are you allowed to do this? Yes, I am. Thankfully, my operator has given me full permission. And they even, if I really wanted to, I could say exactly what who I work for. They don't. I just choose that personally. They have no. Preference over that. They said, yeah, if you want to say you work for whoever or work for us, that's fine. I just choose not to do so. As I've said before, the main reason is I don't want someone to have, say, a bad experience with my operator and say, oh, what happened there? Can you tell me? And I'm like, well, no. And also, I don't want someone to have maybe have a checked-in bag lost, and then they start emailing me, can you chase up my checked-in bag? Amazing. Speedbird 006, Japanese here. That's awesome, buddy. Thank you for watching. Kansai International Airport is sinking each year, and they keep trying to delay it. It started shrinking the day it opened. Very interesting. I didn't know that. Amazing. 2 in the morning in Japan. Awesome. Obviously, yeah, we're not live time or live weather at the moment. That's super cool. I mean, I've looked at on Google Maps when I was planning this flight, or looking where we're flying over. There seems to be some really fantastic places to visit. There was a group of islands southwest of Japan, which I think Microsoft included there. I think it was island of Nanyo, and I think the town was called Okinawa, and it looks amazing to go visit, like these chain of islands to the southwest of Japan, in between Taiwan and Japan. Like an incredible place to go visit. Ugo, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing great. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well as well. Martin, around this area is where it crashed for me. Oh no. I even had someone message me on Instagram today saying I tried this flight and it crashed. I've done a flight, just left it in the autopilot just to have a look at some of the landmarks and stuff before flying this, and it did work okay. Got to Tokyo in one piece, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have no problems. All in game outrun, are you doing it VFR? I'm currently flying under visual flight rules. However, the last part of the sector we're going to switch to IFR and try and find a procedural approach to fly into Tokyo Haneda. For Bandit, which aircraft did you train in, or aircraft did you train in? Started learning to glide when I was 15, flew solo on my 16th. That was on a glider called a Pukat, Polish built. PPL, Cessna 150, 152, 172. Osaka Aviation Academy was the Warrior. IR was the Seneca. Now on the 73. Flown a 73 for 10 years. Unfortunately, Okinawa's main airport is completely screwed up in the sim. Well, I've only just recently added Malaga. For those of my European watchers, you would have thought that Malaga, one of the busiest international airports in Spain, for tourist traffic, would be included with Microsoft Flight Simulator. It wasn't even there. But I think on this update it was included. If the sim does crash, not to worry. What we'll do is I'll probably fire up and go on a public profile for you guys to join, and we'll leave Tokyo, we'll go fly around Mount Fuji or something, have a bit of fun. Steve Baxter, following on from my hashed to get the question earlier, you referred to an RNAV approach during your explanation of an RMP approach. Are they fundamentally similar? Is RMP classed as a more precise approach? So Steve, there was a huge tidy up around 2 or 3 years ago after I made this tutorial regarding the terminology of approaches. As far as you're concerned, or as we're concerned, RMP, RNAV approaches, they're the same thing. They've just changed the terminology now, so they are all referred to as RMP approaches. So an RMP approach could be an RNAV approach based on GNSS navigation. You can have an LPV approach where it uses systems on the aircraft. We don't have it at my operator, where it's sort of flown with the same guidance as an ILS. That's my best explanation. But as when I made that tutorial, there was a difference between GNSS and RMP, but they're now all called RMP approaches. I hope that sort of makes sense. Bjorn Evan Wallstrom, flight deck sim, any thoughts on the experience with electric planes? Bjorn, have I got a stream for you to watch? Oh no, was that electric? Yes, it was electric powered. Bjorn, we did a stream. If you look at the link at the top, click that and have a look on the map of Europe. Have a look in between southeast UK. We flew from wherever it was, I can't remember, in a solar powered electric plane. That would be entertaining for you, but I guess you're referring to purely electric powered aircraft like Airbus have been trialling recently. Yeah, I think it's still going to be a very long time until efficient, commercially viable electric planes will ever be available, unfortunately. But that is the way the world is going, unfortunately. Well, I say fortunately, I guess, but unfortunately, because we're going to be running out of fuel at some point, and there'll be no more classic commercial jets flying around. But yeah, Dover to Calais, that was pretty much it. This is about, I think we went from, I can't remember, Manston. I think we went from Manston, pretty much flew across the channel to an airport in Calais, wasn't it? Yeah, that was nearly a year ago. In the Contraventus, is it called Contraventus? That was a good fun stream. Yeah, solar powered. You had to charge the batteries up, climb, and then the batteries die, and you glide down and then recharge the battery using kinetic energy. Anyway, Himeji Castle, 8.5 minutes to go. It's one of our longest sectors. Remember, after we've done Himeji Castle, we're going to fly over the Akashi Kaikyo Bridge into Osaka, touch and go, and then we're going to go straight up to 35,000 feet. Alan Jr., what is the most major difference in the 737-300-700? Well, in the flight deck, glass cockpit is going to be the biggest change. The engines are slightly newer, but they're still the same fundamental CFM, but not really a huge change. Obviously longer, but from an operating perspective, not much. You can't even get electric cars to work reliably. You want me to get into a jet at 35,000 feet in an electric aircraft? Oh, yes. Yeah, exactly. Simpson pilot, you got length, fuel, range, passengers. It's going to be a very long time until it'll ever be viable. But that is the way the world is going. I was mentioning on Discord, as you all know, I quite like my cars, and in the EU they introduced a requirement now for all new cars to have an exhaust filter on it to capture particulates leaving the engine, and it's completely ruined the sounds of many nice kind of fast cars. I was looking at some of the videos. There's a Dutch or German guy on YouTube. He just basically blasts cars down the autobahn. I love watching his videos. And all the new AMG cars, they all sound a bit, yeah. It's a great shame, but that's the way the world's going. Right, God, of course, because the GPS is bugged and flown a wobbly. Yes, look, this is the ETA for Kaikyo Bridge, even though we're inbound to Himeji Castle. So we're not 7 minutes away from Himeji Castle, we're about 1. So let's now disconnect the autopilot, turn on have everything, slowly reduce the power. And want to deselect all this stuff here. Let's turn off out hold, turn off the yaw damper. That'll do. We were about to blast straight through Himeji Castle there, so hand flying again. Auto top NL, that's the guy, Will, yes. So we might have to do a little bit of an orbit here, because I don't want to miss Himeji Castle. Where are you? I am struggling to spot these landmarks. Cool, look at that. 3,000 feet per minute. Look at that. So much drag, parasitic drag as well, because we're going a little bit faster than our most economical cruise speed. I was looking in the wrong place again. Let's have a look for Himeji Castle. We won't go lower than 500 feet AGL. Respect the flying basic rules of the air. They might alter in Japan, I don't know. Lovely. Next will be the touch and go, then we'll try and get up to 35,000 feet. So let's add the power. Blasting our way through Himeji. My goodness, Himeji Castle's actually miles away still. There it is, look, I can see it straight ahead. Now, I'm going to actually have a look on the charts here. It's probably like a no-fly zone or something right over the castle. Let's have a look here. Route charts. Oh no, there's no restrictions at all. No danger areas or anything. Yeah, I think some of the buildings here, it's taking a while for them to load up. These look like they're AI generated buildings, don't they? Yeah, the sat-nav, the GPS is completely, or FMS or whatever they call it, this system. The Garmin, is it a Garmin system? Not sure, but it's still, even though it's sequenced to Kaikyo Bridge, even though we're over Himeji Castle. But there it is, look at it. Let's get a nice screenshot here for our photo album. Oh guys, I haven't told you about Himeji Castle. There it is anyway. Screenshot taken. Let's go now to do our touch and go in Osaka. Oh no! I'm a bit late with my facts. Are you ready, Himeji Castle then? It's a hilltop Japanese castle complex in the city of Himeji. The castle is regarded as the finest surviving example of typical Japanese castle architecture, comprising a network of 80 rooms with advanced defense systems. It dates to the year 1333. That's why aeroplane shakes as I blow the turbines. Cool. There you go. Right, we'll follow the coastline for a short while, fly over our bridge, and then we're going to do a touch and go at Romeo Juliet Bravo Bravo. So we'll stay at around 1,000 feet for this. Post real facts time. Wikipedia, not at all, Peter. Peter Green, what are you on about? I rehearsed this, and it's my knowledge of Japan. What are you on about? Wikipedia. No clue what you're on about. Right, let's go down 1,000 feet. Akashi Kaikyo Bridge next. Colin Brown, 2.5 stars down to 2 stars to the Lake Castle facts. Thanks, Colin. TripAdvisor, dear oh dear, alpaca photo air tours in Japan, they're not the best start on their inaugural flight. We've got a bit of turbulence again. Go down to 1,000 again. And yeah, about halfway. So we bomb on our way down here. So densely populated in areas as well. I mean, all this is built up here. Just showing you on the map where we are. It's quite cool. I love this little map here. So Akashi, there's the bridge we're about to fly over. There's the artificial airport, Osaka International, I think it was, just here. And this is the one sinking into the sea, I think someone referred to. Super cool. Oh, so much for maintaining 1,000 feet, come on. Awesome. I can see the bridge coming up ahead. Back down to 1,000. Cool. So I think for the King Air, I was looking at the various pitch and power settings. I think you pretty much with the prop RPM, you leave it at 1600 RPM for all phases, and then max RPM for takeoff or go around and on approach. Thanks for subscribing. 4D modding, welcome aboard, sir. One big flappy boy, what is your real name? Leroy Jenkins. I'm not going to tell you my real name, am I? Oh, yeah, well, it is Leroy. Coming up then to the Akashi Kaikyo Bridge. The world's longest suspension bridge, is it? Yes! Yes, maybe. Wikipedia. Oh no, I've lost my tab. Akashi Kaikyo Bridge. So yes, of course, Akashi Kaikyo Bridge is a suspension bridge in the city of Kobe, and it's the longest central span of any suspension bridge in the world. There you go. So you're about to see the longest ever suspension bridge. How cool is this? In Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is definitely worth a screenshot. It is also a landmark on our tour. Kobe Port Tower. You know, we've all seen that. Ah, there's our screenshot coming in now. Screenshot saved. Right over the top of it. What river does it cross? The Akashi Strait. Next question. Awesome. Right. So, let's do a little touch and go then in Osaka. Right, I'm not going to tune the ILS, we'll just fly it visually. I think it was 06 left, 06 right, I think that was the orientation. And I think I can just see it straight ahead, the artificial island. And the runway orientation was 06 left, 06 right. So if you land on 06 left, touch and go. I'll go on to like about a 2-mile final. I'll maintain around so much for maintaining 1,000 feet here. My altitude maintaining what's how I'm flying is it's been atrocious, but set that power to around 70% torque. There we go. And there is the artificial island with the hopefully the airport on it. Is it there in Microsoft Flight Simulator? Well, there's only one way to find out. Alan Jr., the 737 is the best-selling commercial jetliner in history. I could have told you that. Martin, you have to try and land with one engine out. If I did that, I probably won't be able to get it restarted. And I don't know what VMCA or the best single engine speed is for this in the climb. VY, I remember that speed. Best single engine climb speed for the King Air. Coming up to Osaka. So approach flap speed, we can select 202 knots, flaps down fully at 158, gear down at 184. They are the best King Air 350 speeds, or I say the best speeds, they're the placard speeds. Either way, we're putting it down, boys. You've got it, Casual Racer. Guys, if you are enjoying this chilled out stream, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button as well. Subscribe to stay up to date with the latest content. Next stream will be either Zebo, or it will be Zebo most likely. Got something for the members this weekend, and then 727 cargo 2 sector day coming up. I might do like a later stream going on at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. I'm going to fly at night, do a proper cargo run in the 7-2. VY because oh, Casual Race, I vaguely remember this. Is VY based off VMD minimum drag speed? I think it's slightly above it. Can't remember. This is all ATPL stuff I don't have to worry about now in a commercial jet airliner. Did you know the flight data sim is the stick? Shh. There it is. Best start slowing down. Oh no, don't do that again. I need to get the speed below 202 knots before I can select approach flaps. Coming in way too hot here. So I can select approach flaps. Gear down can come at 184 knots, so I can pop the gear down, which will just shut up this guy. And then final approach speed, full flaps down is 158 knots, so we can select that now. And then final approach speed is around 110 knots, I've been advised, unless anyone else has another figure. So I really need to track a bit high here. Need to go full on the RPM as well. Shot the turn. Yeah, not bad. Look, 2 reds, 2 whites. I'll take that. Max RPM. Let's get my seating position good. There we are. That's nice. There's our 500. Nice that they got the airport depicted. So 110 knots I think is a good final approach speed. I think it's a little bit based off your weight, but the difference in VREF wasn't that much looking at the tables yesterday. Tad high. Keep it descending. Let's cut the power of the threshold. Let's hold her off. Come on. Where's that runway? Oh, what a float. We're down though. Oh, complete a non-stop flight of at least 300 miles from takeoff to landing. Fun fact, right. Right, approach flaps, go around. We're up. Gear can come up. And then we're going to maintain 140 now. All the way up, unbelievably, to 35,000 feet. Flaps up. Going to reduce that power slightly now, just so we don't overheat the engines. There's 140 and trim. The waypoint's already sequenced us direct to Charlie Uniform Echo. 160. Trim, trim, trim. I think 140 knots is the best two-engine climb speed. Or gives us the best rate to climb. And then we'll set up 35,000 feet. Lean out that mixture, young man. Yeah, it's not a piston engine aircraft. Don't think you want to be leaning anything in this. But we do need to bring the RPM back a little bit on the props. And climb power 80. I got too much power set here. Oh. And up we go. Set the altitude to. Someone said 35,000 is the maximum certified altitude. We'll see how high we can get then. Sweet. So I'm just going to maintain the heading until we get back on our track. I'll then tune the Charlie Uniform Echo VOR, which is called Otsu. We're nicely maintaining 140 knots, which is our best two-engine climb speed. Why is it saying 3,000 feet? Oh no, it's still at 35. Now how do I get the autopilot to update it to 35,000 feet though? Flight level change, so 140. Let's get the autopilot in.
Engaging autopilot.
So autopilot's in now to maintain 140. Good, and sync the heading. Heading select. Cool. So the aircraft's now pitching to maintain 140 knots. 1600 RPM for the climb. Yeah, I forgot to reduce RPM. We're still at full RPM here. So looking at the prop RPM here. Very precise of it, look at that, 1596. There we are, RPM set. Cool. Oh, it's sequenced to the port tower, so I'm actually going to make a left turn here. Otherwise it might just throw the GPS off course a little bit if we don't go past port tower exactly. Looking good. What aircraft is this? LF Mad. This is a default Textron Aviation King Air 350. Which I'm trying to fly as realistically as possible. But climb, yes, it says 80% for the torque. Which is a bit high, 89, but I don't mind that. Try and get a bit higher. 1600 RPM. Cruise climb between 160 and 170 knots. 140 is the best rate though, so I might increase it to 160 when we get a little bit higher. It's climbing quite well. So you should try playing X-Plane or Flight Simulator in VR. I've yet to try either in VR. With regards to you guys watching a stream, I don't think it would be the best experience. For me personally, it would be great, but anyone watching wouldn't really enjoy it. So for that reason, I probably won't be using it. Secondly, VR personally, I get quite disorientated with. Not a big fan of it, if I'm honest. So yes, I will not be using it anytime soon. Plainly tower view. Let's do an outside view, not an outside view anymore. Oh no, my Xbox controller's turned off again. I'm not turning it on because it's going to break the sim. Done quite well though. There are so many things on reclaimed land. It's incredible. Now, personally, and this is just a personal thing, I think at higher altitudes, the scenery doesn't look as good as Ortho 4XP and X-Plane. I mean, this is just a personal preference. I think it's a bit washed out. We'll see when we get up to 35,000. For me personally, I don't think it looks quite as crisps. Quite as crisp. God, we're climbing really well. I didn't think we'd climb this well. 2,000 feet per minute we're managing. Gives us a bit more of an intercept heading. And also I'm going to tune up the next VOR, which is Charlie Uniform Echo, which is 17.1. So how do we do this again? Split. Flight plan. Nav 1. And the VOR for Ostu is 117. Oops, no, clear. So you see when I press transfer, you'll see the ident change from India Tango Echo transfer. No data, it says. Oh, it's because I've got the wrong frequency in, that's fine. Active frequency 71. There you go, Charlie Uniform Echo, and the blue RMI is matching the GPS line as well, so engage nav. Now the aircraft's going to follow the GPS space navigation, which is also mounted to Charlie Uniform Echo. So we're on the... what radial is this? Tail of the needle, if you ever want to know what radial you're on, just look at the tail. 245 radial from Charlie Uniform Echo. Base level for Bing must be zoom level for 16 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yeah, I don't know. It looks great. It looks fine. You also get better performance as well because it doesn't have to load up any of the static AI. What do you call this? 3D objects, I think. But I mean, it's okay. It looks fine. For me, streaming it's perfectly adequate. I think it's a little bit crisper, say, being zoom level 16 or 17 in X-Plane. Again, that's just personal preference. So when we get the higher we go, obviously we're climbing at quite a high, a lower indicated airspeed than we've been cruising at low altitude, but our true airspeed will increase as we climb, so we'll be able to travel further, quicker. I want to cancel. There we go. Look at me. I can't. I'm getting really. I wouldn't say proficient's the right word, but quicker using these systems. I really like them. You imagine doing your IR on this now? It's a piece of cake. Flying Falcon Space, I must emphasise that the Concorde stream was an expertly crafted example of aviation skillness. Thank you. That took a lot of preparation, and again, as I stressed at the start of the stream, thank you everyone that contributed to that great charity. Really generous of you. Thank you. My favourite crisps, salt vinegar. Louis, are you satisfied with your computer, or is there anything you would change? I'm talking about performance of Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. So yeah, my PC is now coming up to being 3 years old, two and a half years old, and so far, yeah, I mean, bear in mind right now, resource-wise, I'm running Streamlabs, streaming software, Navigraph, Spotify with music, a few other bits and pieces as well. And yeah, it's fine. You'll notice when we get to Tokyo later, if we get to Tokyo later, performance does drop off, but and I'm running it at high end, not ultra. But yeah, overall, I'd say if you were to look for a PC to run this sim comfortably, my specs would be fine, and they're older specs now, so I don't know. I guess you could spec out a PC with my bits now for I think less than £1,000. I'm pretty sure you could now. I mean, brand new, I bought this from Chill Blast, and I think I spent £1,400 £1,400. Can't remember now. I bought it from the Flight Sim Cosford. I went to go have a little nosy around just to see, look for PC, get a bit of advice, and ended up buying one. So, right now, we're still doing 2,000 feet per minute. I think as we climb, I'd expect this rate of descent to decrease. Now I do remember this. I think. If Plain Old Ben's still here, I'm overstressing the engines here slightly. As you climb though, you're meant to increase power, aren't you? You know, as the air density decreases, you need to steadily increase power on the power levers. to ensure the torque stays the same. But I think here it stayed quite constant, if I'm honest. I've got the oil dampers off. I'm climbing very quickly up to our cruise speed. You can see, look, even though we're doing 140 knots, our ground speed's 198, but it's slowly increasing. That's because our true airspeed's increasing. Obviously, the ground speed will take wind into account, but I have no weather simulated in the simulator at the moment. It's just clear bit, so you can see how ground speed's increasing. Is there a true airspeed indication? I can't see. Yeah, I mean, you can just see, look at the runway, look, it's a bit... I don't know. Ortho looks a little bit crisper from high altitude, but obviously at low level, Microsoft Flight Simulator looks epic. So, yeah, a little bit there, isn't it? It's okay. For what I do on my stream, which is primarily IFR flight, not an issue for me. Yes, that's right, which is why you can over-torque at low level. I remember playing a bit, I mean, obviously, very different aircraft on a turbocharged Seneca, which is what I flew, but you could over-boost your engines at... cabin differential pressure? Looks like we are not pressurising. Oxygen masks on, please, Jim and Jim. So this is just the pressurisation schedule. Now, how do I pressure... Slight issue here. How do I pressurise the cabin and the kick air? We'll cancel that. No problem. just hold your breath, guys. Playing on bed, I vaguely remember in the Seneca, obviously being a piston charge aircraft, might be a very different concept. But as you climbed, you had to increase power. But you could overboost the turbochargers at low altitude. So I don't know if that's anything sort of principle-wise the same way. But yeah, I remember I read some articles yesterday about it. You have to steadily increase power as you climb. In the King Air, it seems to be staying quite constant. Again, I don't know if that's a bug with Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'd expect the torque to be dropping off, and I'm having to increase power to keep the torque at the same setting. Obviously, 98 is a bit high. I should probably have it a little bit lower. But I'm feeling woozy. Hold your breath. Emergency descent. Turn the bleeds on near the first officer. Probably. I mean, that should be helping us. Where is the? Where are these switches? They are inoperative. Interesting. Cabin altitude warning test off. Not simulated. Well, it looks like I'm not suffering the effects of hypoxia, so I guess it's not simulated. Inexplained, you'd be blacked out. I know, Listerman. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Plane or bend, that's right, but then you become ITT, which I know is interstage turbine temperature. I looked that up. You become limited when you climb to altitude. There's a changeover point between being able to get max torque and hitting your interstate turbine temperature. Very interesting. The guys, you know, you'd think operating a jet engine is far more complex. It's not. A jet engine, from a pilot's perspective, is so much simpler to operate. You have a thrust leader, and that is it. With a piston engine aircraft or a turboprop, there's a lot more engine management involved. The beauty of a turbo fan, I should say not a turbojet, a turbo fan engine, high bypass ratio like the CFM or any commercial airliner, it is just, you know, there's an EC that's managing everything for you inside. You just increase thrust for more speed and then decrease thrust for less speed. It's as simple as that. That's the beauty of a jet airliner. Discounting the fact that we're all dying from hypoxia, the aircraft is climbing quite comfortably up to 35,000 feet, passing 28,000. The performance is pretty consistent though. Bear in mind I've just reduced the power and the ITT is actually dropping off. I don't think that's probably the most realistic here. RPM's increasing as well on its own. I don't know. I have no clue when it comes to engine management in this stage of flight, but yeah, we'll get up to 35,000 feet level off. I don't know if it's 100% realistic. Amy, hope you're doing well. Turboprops are so much more fun though. Yeah, you always flying the Saab? You're Aberdeen way, aren't you? And I always know that you're... Is it the Saab you're flying in X-Plane or something like that? I can't remember. Yeah, right, listen to it, exactly. There's a pressurization panel on the bottom center console right next to your seat. I saw that, Kate, as soon as we were having pressurization issues. But can I... Is that even modelled? Right, cabin altitude. Let's put the rate to max, just in case it's doing anything here. Oh, okay. It just flicks around to minimum. And then we'll set the cabin altitude to... Well, yeah, I mean, it's just the way you set it. Aircraft altitude. I think it's just a table to show you, but we'll set the cabin altitude up to, look, 35,000 feet. And then we should have a cabin altitude of just below 10,000. I don't think that's modelled somewhat. Flying this up a bit, working on the Fly GSM Q400. That's an aircraft I'd love to try out. William Morris, you wanting to find out about Lama International Airlines? I don't blame you. Oh, now what do we have wrong with us? Use oxygen mask. Disregard my fare-paying passengers. Yeah, so I don't know how the cabin pressurization system works on this aircraft. I don't even think it's modelled correctly. If it is, I certainly don't know how to use it. I'm bound now to Crammer. So again, look, it's giving me kickhole as the point here. But look, we're doing 240 knots ground speed, even though we're maintaining 140 knots. So I'm actually going to start accelerating now. Get some cooler air into the engines. Yeah, the torque's slowly increasing. So I'm actually not having... The torque's increasing on its own, but my power, I'm having to... Look, the throttle's back at 40%. Is that right? I'm actually having to decrease power to maintain the torque. What is going on?
50, 40.
RPM is now 1800 RPM. Thanks a lot, £10. Jason Kitchen. Evening, sir. He says, good evening to you, sir. You're doing very well. I'll play on bet. I need you sat right next to me, buddy. It's got them turboprops. About 180. I don't know. I just feel like the engine management or the engine modelling is not that accurate. I mean, look, the RPM I need to bring back, what, to 1900 RPM now. It's already at 67. Oh, wrong button, excuse me. RPM, that's what I'm going to do. So let's bring the RPM back to 1600. What? I mean, look, I've got the prop almost feathered, and it's at 1900 RPM still. I've got no control of the RPM on this aircraft now. I mean, look, the what's that as a percentage? 20%. I'm going to feather the prop soon, and then at 1900. Is that realistic? I don't think this is Model 1 at all. Anyway, approaching 35,000 feet. I've got the power, look, bed back at 30%, but my torque's at 86. I've been having to progressively reduce power. Again, I have no experience flying a turboprop, so I have no clue how to manage these engines. I've been thinking I'd have to be increasing power as we slowly climb. There's the autopilot capturing 35,000 feet, which causes it to jerk. If I think I survived this flight, I think I'm going to book with Lama International next time, says Brandon. I mean, what's it doing now? This is the autopilot jerking as it captures the altitude. But anyway, we're up here. Yeah, it should be going the other way. For a constant N1, torque decreases with altitude and ITT stays roughly the same. Torque has been increasing with altitude, and my ITT is basically, well, the engine's cool. Here we are at 35,000 feet anyway. We've levelled off. Apart from the fact that we are suffering from hypoxia, look at this. The torque is at 86%, but the power is at 32%. RPM is at 22%, but the prop's at 2,000 RPM. What is going on? I mean, what happens if I go full power on the RPM, though? That's definitely not right. I can't go any further back because I'm going to feather the props. 20% RPM. and we're managing 2,038. Well, at least our ground speed's 336 knots. Yes, I think that might require some fine-tuning. I'd love to have a King Air operator to comment on this anyway. Making good progress. Next landmark anyway, tour aside, is going to be Mount Fuji, which we shouldn't take too long in this altitude. In fact, in the distance, I think that might even be it over there. Nice view though. Yeah, I seem to have excess amount of performance up here, it would seem. But it's not really accelerating. Like, I've got my power so far back. I mean, I'm just going to increase power, just out of curiosity. Yeah, look, as soon as I increase power beyond a certain limit, I have to bring the power all the way back, look. Even though the fact the RPM is at 20%, if I put too much power, look, I'm already exceeding the maximum RPM of the props. That's crazy. Struggling to maintain speed up here. Yeah, so I can't put the props any further back, so I'll feather them. So you feather the props when you have an engine failure. It puts the blade in line with the airflow, so it minimises the drag. Topia's more like hard tuning than fine tuning. So yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a good advocate of Microsoft. I do like the sim, but this is why I said I'd only fly general aviation, and I think that's by far the most realistic, because the engine, I don't know, I can't say, because I do not fly turboprops, and it might be perfect, it might be as expected, but I feel like having torque at 85% with my power at 30% position of the thrust lever. The ITT I think is going to be much higher. The interstate turbine temperature, interstage turbine temperature, sorry, and the RPM is nearly, I mean, yeah, max RPM, 2,000 RPM, and they're at 20%, so, yeah. Again, if the commercial airliners, for me personally, the 7.4 is, and the 7.8 are very difficult to operate. So, anyway, Kate Foster, you set the torque with the throttle and RPM with the prop. I know that much, thankfully. Plane on bed, yeah, maybe. I can hear the airflow though. We're making good progress. Look at that, ground speed 336 knots. We did make it to 35,000 feet. Oscillating a little bit. And there is Japan passing below us. And then we'll start descending towards Mount Fuji very shortly. We'll start thinking about what approach we'll fly into Tokyo. Cool. Yeah, AB Parent, you'll be actually quite helpful because you've known how to operate the turboprops a lot better. Yeah, you feather for emergency flight until you start out under certain conditions and I'll shut down in F350. Cool. Yeah, I mean, the Seneca, I mean, this is 10 years ago again. We only ever feathered the prop when there was an engine failure or when shutting down the engine. I remember there was a certain stage in the Seneca where you didn't want to feather it because if you did, it stayed feathered, locked. But again, it's some time ago since I last flew piston engine aircraft, let alone one of them flying turboprop. There's a couple of mods out there, one for the 7.4, one for the 7.8. Zibo equivalence thermal raccoon. Is that what you're talking about? 2 tons of love, got to host a virtual meeting, got to mute the stream. Ah man, we'll be here. Well, I don't know, we're currently on oxygen masks. But yeah, we're making good progress. Minus 54 outside, very icy. I don't know. Yeah, Toby is being 80 and having a King at 35,000 feet. I don't know how often they routinely operate up here. We looked at them earlier. The maximum certified altitude for the King Air is this height, so it shouldn't be an issue. Awesome. So it should be. Let's have a look on the Navigraph charts. Let's pop them up. Well over halfway now, look. And we're travelling much quicker. Inbound to... Oh my goodness, what's that creaking sound in the sim there? It's alarming. Currently inbound to Kikol next, so you can see Kikol's the RNAV point there on the nav charts. From Kikol, we're going to be going to the Shizuoka VOR. From Shizuoka, there's Mount Fuji. You can see there's the restricted airspace, so in real life, you can't fly below 16,000 feet over Mount Fuji. We'll disregard that today. And then from there onwards, we're going to fly into Tokyo. But yeah, let's get this VOR tuned here, which is the Shizuoka VOR 11065. To do it as well. No, it wasn't that. How did I? How did I get off this screen? I can't remember now. God damn it. Split. Flight plan. Nav 1. 11065. Enter. Oh no, not enter, it's transfer. No data. There we are. Sierra Zulu Echo VOI is now tuned and active. Nav's all working. Captain Mike, aren't there pressurised King Airs? Yes. We should be fine up here, minus the fact that we are not personally. Tim, what are you referring to? So was my ex. The list of insane. Behave yourself. Ezric, haven't heard of Mariana today. She's around. Mariana, do you want to shout hello? Oh, she's probably asleep. Mariana! She's shouting hello. She's around. She's taking a back seat these days. There we go, you! Awesome. Anyway, where are we? Geographically over Japan. So, we've gone right over. Oh, I'll show you guys. I mean, there's so many individual built-up areas. I don't know if it's the Navigraph map, but I mean that is a huge built-up area here. I must apologise for my lack of sort of geographical knowledge around this part of the area. But I mean, is there a collective name for this area here? I'm not sure, because I mean Tokyo. Look how far that sprawls around, and they have all these built-up areas around it. But I'm not sure. This King Air's done as well, though, apart from the fact it seems to be a bit broken, but it doesn't seem to be burning fuel too quickly either. I think we had some fuel in the auxiliary tank still. Okay, heading select. And there is Mount Fuji. I have to give credit to Microsoft Flight Simulator. When you get close to Mount Fuji, it does look epic. It looks really cool. It's the Nagoya area. Thanks, RW Sinclair. some stuff. She must not be a Microsoft Flight Simulator fan. Kate Foster, how's Jack today? I guess you want me to get Jack in here now. He's probably asleep. Poor dog. I also fear that... oh no, that's why it's external power. I'll let you off there. Left generator, right generator. No DC load. Lighting controls up here. Yeah, the model of the aircraft is beautiful. The 3D model looks fantastic. It's a little alarming. There's a glowing embers around the wooden panel. Well, let's not look at that. Kenneth Hughes, what are you flying with the Beechcraft King Air today? Flying from Nagasaki to Tokyo with the Microsoft Flight Simulator Discovery flight. It's been very educational. Everyone here on board has learnt about Tokyo, about Japan, sorry. I keep stop referring to the country as Tokyo. We've learnt about Japan, we've learnt about all the bridges, we've been over Himeji Castle, we've been over the Itsukushima Shrine. It's been great, great fun. Plainly, what is the next site? Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji, which you can see in the distance here. Currently flying direct to the, well not direct, but to the Sierra Zulu Echo VR via Chikugo. Even though now, again, I think this is a little bug. Look, it seems jumping, so the active waypoint right now is Mount Fuji, even though we haven't flown overhead Chikugo and Sierra Zulu Echo. It seems to be sequencing to the next waypoint early for some reason. I have no clue why. Kick my cat. Not like there's much oxygen for the fire anyway. Brilliant. Awesome. How's the volume? I fear that it's quite loud in the aircraft. It's louder than I think X-Plane would be. So if you want me to turn the game volume down slightly, let me know. Try my Xbox controller and turn it on straight away. Sometimes it bugs out, but other times it's fine. Might have a little play with the drone camera. That looks good. I mean, the Ortho isn't quite as crisp as Ortho. I think you get an X-Plane with the Bing maps there, but it's still completely acceptable. Any update on the collaboration between yourself and V1, said Harry? Yeah, I've not actually done any work with anyone there, and I have spoken to V1 in the past on his Discord. I've spoken to him personally, and come this winter, I'm hoping to do a little bit of collaboration work with some other streamers and stuff. I have been approached by other streamers in the past, but out of me trying to stay private and stuff, I've kind of held off. She said no, and it's not because I don't want to work with other people. It's just I wish to remain anonymous. And a lot of people, I've met some streamers when I went to the Microsoft thing in September. I met a lot of guys, introduced myself, and they were really nice guys. And yeah, I don't know. I'm still going to remain. My private life's my private life, and my close friends know how private a person I am and stuff, and this is as public as I ever will be. I really don't want to be interested in it, but to not discourage the fact I will hopefully do some streams with some streamers in the next few months. I hope. Haven't seen Takeshi's Castle yet, Mark? I used to love that show. So I'm using the drone camera here. It's a really powerful camera tool. I'm using the Xbox controller. I've turned off all the input regarding flight controls, so you can just zoom in close to the aircraft. You can see the detail of the aircraft is phenomenal. It looks really good close up. Oh, there I am. Oh, there I am. A Sobo Studios t-shirt. So we've got Jeanette flying. There's me in the right hand seat. Yeah, the quality is really nice. Plainly, you can fly to the Fuji crater if you are slow enough. Eerie atmosphere, strange winds. We'll see. You can see Mount Fuji in the distance there. As soon as we're inbound to Mount Fuji, we'll start an initial descent. Yeah, it's definitely broken. It's gone from now Mount Fuji to Fisab. It's just sequenced to the next waypoint to Fisab for some reason after passing Kirol. I reckon now if we start descending at around 1,000 feet per minute, we should catch up quite soon. Let's initially set flight level 100 vertical speed, and then we'll go down at 1,000 feet per minute. Look carefully monitor this because I've got the RPM back at some ridiculous figure here, 20% even though I'm doing 2,000 RPM in each engine. Could depressurising the aircraft be an effective way of fighting the fire in the data centre world? There is a thing called a hypoxia air system which reduces the oxygen levels below 15%. I mean, it would work in my camp, but obviously it would have the negative effect of killing everyone on board. So, yeah, but I guess it's a sick there, but we'd never consider if we have a fire on board. Can if you use the improvements they made to Japan are quite good. I'm mostly familiar with Tokyo, but it feels night and day after the update. That's cool. This is the first time ever flying, streaming there virtually, and I have to admit, low level obviously we've got up here as a bit of an experiment. It looks fantastic. Really impressed with how everything looks. Another Gene, apparently you can control the drone camera with an Xbox style game controller if you plug it in. It's exactly what I'm doing, Another Gene. I'm using my Xbox controller to control the camera. The drone, the keyboard controls aren't that instinctive. So but the Xbox controller, they are very good. So that's why I use it. Parasim got the feeling Microsoft Flight Simulator main effort was initially for Xbox, and last minute someone threw PC in the mix. Everything about the current version seems very game-like. Now, I know for a fact that's not the case, Parasim. When I went to see the Microsoft initial development in September, their pre-alpha build stage, they were stressing that they were really aiming to place this for the core simmer, obviously for the Xbox release as well. A lot of people say it's arcadey. Look, the flight model I think is quite new, and it's using new technology. Now, I've flown around, we've done some streams in light aircraft, and from what I remember flying light aircraft, it does feel great. Now, when it comes to flying commercial airliners, I think work needs to be done. I don't know. Again, I've said this many times before, I've only flown a 737, so when I flew the PMDG, NGX and FSX, for example, the system, as you well know, uses tabular-based data to accurately replicate flight, and it worked. The PMDG NGX was good. The pitch and power worked quite well. X-Plane, again, moves forward by using the fact that they don't actually have tabular-based data, but it actually simulates airflow. But that is done in a very clever way, because when I fly the Zibo mod in X-Plane, the pitch and power is spot on. And Zibo has had to make a lot of changes to the base 737 to make that work. For example, the base 737 it's okay, but again, it's limiting the factors, limiting the accuracy. Sorry, of the real 737. Zibo's had to do so much work, and not just Zibo. Tim, I always forget his name. Oh my goodness me, I haven't caught up with him for such a long time. Tim behind the flight models had to make so many tweaks and changes to ensure it works properly. So yeah, it'll be forever the history of flight simulation that will need a high quality third party developer to make accurate aircraft. I think Microsoft have done a good job with some of the default aircraft. For those new to simming, they can have a bit of fun and stuff, but yeah, I don't know, flying up here in the King Air, the engine management is I'm pretty sure it's very broken. Flying it in the 740 autopilot, so the commercial airlines are a bit joking. But it's a new sim, it's experimental, and I think it's are along the right track, and I'm confident this will be the main sim moving forward. Yeah. Anyway, that's my 2 pence, you know, and that's just my personal opinion. If I thought Microsoft Flight Simulator was tosh, I wouldn't stream it at all. But it's great fun. I like the visual aspect of it, and the GA stuff, as I've mentioned before, that's what I'm going to be primarily streaming. This was just a bit of fun. And if they open some new landing challenges, I might do that as an impromptu stream, a bit of fun as well. But I'll be sticking for now for the commercial airliners in X-Plane, because we have a good base for that now, and I can do what I do every single day at work in X-Plane right now. So yeah, you got it this one. No flight sim has ever been good off the shelf, and X-Plane has its problems as well, don't get me wrong. Wyatt 5678, have you ever had to kick a drunk person off a flight? Yes. I've not had to divert en route yet. Been close, but yeah, on this stand I've had to get someone off. Sim 737 pilot, yeah, GA is pretty fun for now until Sobo figures out what they're doing. Yeah, GA fun is brilliant. GA flying is great fun, and you can, as I've demonstrated, you can fly in instrument conditions, IFR, charts, follow that, and it all works. So yeah, and that's what I'll be using it primarily for now. Anyway, there is Mount Fuji ahead. Getting very close to completion of this tour. I'm going to increase our rate of descent slightly here. Let's go to flight level change. We're going to maintain a descent speed of 220 knots. I've noticed as we climb as well, the VMO stays the same. I don't know if that decreases, not sure. Slowly bring the power back. Not that it can come back much further back. To idle. And I'm going to increase the RPM now. I mean, it's still, even with idle power, with the props back at 20%, with idle thrust, they're still spinning really fast. Still getting an RPM of 1600. You see, as I increase the RPM to full. I mean, oh yeah, the engines are idle, so they probably should be spinning around the same speed, but let's bring it back a bit more. See, I don't have the background knowledge of flying turboprops to really provide accurate feedback, unfortunately. As this is a discovery flight, can I actually change the weather in the sim? I don't think I can. I'm quite limited with what I can do because it's a discovery flight. So again, why is it not? It's in flight level change 220 knots, but it's not descending at 220. What have I missed? Flight level change 192. So am I right in thinking if I bug 220, it should now descend at 220 knots in flight level change? Instead, it's just locked at 29,100. Have I missed something here? Flight level change is active, 188 knots. Increase the speed. I'm sure it should pitch down now to maintain 220 in flight level change. I think that could be broken. Let's try vertical speed then. Yeah, vertical speed's working. Bit high now. You flew over Fuji when I was visiting Japan last year. It's a magnificent sight at AB. Awesome. Kenneth Hughes, is your final approach starting altitude dependent on the airport you're flying into? Is there a best practice? Yes, it is dependent, Kenneth, but regarding your altitude, a nice rule of thumb for you to remember for you in a 737 or a commercial airliner is the 3-2-1 rule, okay? So every approach you fly, you want to try to aim to have the following parameters. At 10 miles away from touchdown, 10 miles, you want to be doing around 200 knots. and you want to be 3,000 feet AGL. That's typically where you'd intercept the glide slope at around those parameters. Now it's 3,000 feet AGL, remember? So if you're landing in, let's say, I don't know, where's a high elevation airfield? I can't think of one off the top of my head. Madrid, for example, which has an elevation of 2,000 feet. You want to start the approach at 10 miles at 5,000 feet, which is 3,000 feet above the aerodrome level, AAL, AGL. So that's a nice rule of thumb to remember there. Kate Foster, when you were up for captain, did you give a thought to saying no to keep your seniority? I didn't, Kate. I went straight for the upgrade. And we have a slightly different seniority-based system here. So I wasn't too fussed. Right, well, a little bit higher because the aircraft didn't really want to use that flight level change. We'll keep it descending. What's this at here? 2,500 feet per minute. Just about staying below VMO. I'll match the heading. And we're going to do a couple of turns around Mount Fuji. Andrew Stevenson, I found that the flight level change works for ascending but not descending. Okay, I'm sure it should work in descent then, Andrew. Sim 737 pilot, you should invite pilot Emily to watch your next turboprop stream. She flies the Q400. I've not heard of her, Sim 737 pilot. But, I have lots of useful turboprop guys. Plain old Ben who pops in here, he's obviously flown the Q400. But yeah, I will have no clue on how to fly that when it comes. Right, let's go to heading select. And here she is in her glory. We'll get a little bit lower, of course. Felis is here in the house as well. Good evening to you, Felis. Felis is the developer of the Tupolev Tu-154. Says good evening. Another good news, talk to Jar about the ground handling plugin, so there is a big chance to have some buttons on Avitab to call for various ground cars. Very cool. Very cool. Andy Moose said to Kate, I thought Captain was top dog. Alpaca Airways, no, I'm bottom of the bunch. Kodadami, what turboprops have you flown? None. I've never flown any turboprop aircraft in my life. Only in a desktop simulator. Only a piston or jet. So a little bit pixelated, but as we get lower still, it should come into view. Get a bit lower before we take our screenshot of the landmark, and then that'll be it. Hayden J. Robbins, I find the sim nicely flown and presented. Thank you. Hayden, I hope you're not referring or have even seen the part where we did depressurise the aircraft, kill everyone. I guess you're not referring to that part, but thank you very much for your kind words. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, that looks spectacular. Ah, screw this, I want to hand fly this. Disconnecting autopilot. Vertical speed, we'll turn that off. Heading, we'll turn that off. Yaw damper, we'll turn that off. I want all of it off, but I think some of it's still on there, right. My controls. The creaking is very alarming. I'll admit. Mr. Mass Casualty Instant, yes. Yeah, no need to play that back. So we're just below VMO here. What is the height of Mount Fuji? Oh no, I haven't told you my facts about Mount Fuji. Let me just jog my memory. Let me just jog my memory. No, I didn't actually type Mount Fuji. It's just for the banter. Did you know that Mount Fuji is one of Japan's holy mountains? It's also the highest mountain in Japan, standing at 12,400 feet. Now, should we test Microsoft Flight Simulator? Standard weather, and it says the height of the mountain is 12,389 feet. So if I maintain 12,400, we should just go right over the top of it. And that should be correct because we've got standard sea level pressure set, so the altimeter should actually read the height above sea level. So The height of Mount Fuji, 12,389. Let's maintain 12,400 and see if we clear it. This is unplanned as well. There we are. So 12,400. That is the height of Mount Fuji. I think they're pretty far off. Oh, no, we're below it now. Let's see how accurate this is. And it should be, like I said, it should be correct. We've got the correct sea pressure set. Altimeter should be accurately measuring out height, or altitude. So there's 12,400. I'm more confident. What was the elevation? 12. Standing 12,389 feet. You know what? I think they're really not that far off. 12,400. We're 10 feet above the maximum highest point, which is on here on the right. I think they're spot on. Why is my gear down? Nothing to see here. Well done, Microsoft. I think the altitude's perfect. Minus the fact I had the gear down. That was me trying to type in Mount Fuji. I might have tried to spell it as Fugi. That was tight. Super cool. Awesome. Someone said they wanted me to dip into the crater. Where's the parachute? That's so cool. Mount Funky. Alright, I'm just over being a little overzealous with my turn here. So it's just a bit of fun. Wanted to dip into the crater. Oh, there's a building up here. My goodness, is there actually any buildings on top of this? Wow. So cool. Well, if there's some people there, look, I've just buzzed them. Awesome stuff. Well then guys, well that ends the visual part of the tour. Oh, I forgot to take my photo for the screenshot. Remember, we are going to look at all these screenshots afterwards. There is Mount Fuji. Right. Print screen. Perfect. Screenshot taken. Right, let's get some automation in. And we're going to fly IFR now. And we're going to fly an instrument approach into Tokyo Haneda. So let's level off at flight level 120. Synchronise the heading. There's flight level 120 coming up. Leveling off. And
Engaging autopilot.
alright, there we all go. Yeah, look, it's gone to the navigation's all broken. Like for here, I'm gonna try and reprogram something here. Oh my goodness, my altitude keeping. Come on. Flight level 120. Let's try that again. So autopilot, altitude. Yaw damper. Again, why is it doing that deadly dive? It's going back up now. Heading select, right. So let's have a look at the Navigraph charts and see. Oh, Sim 737. Nice fact. Mount Fuji last erupted between 1707 and 1708. Very cool. Buildings on the slopes up next to the routes as well. That's really cool. I'd love to go visit. Obviously not when there's a planned eruption, but I guess they'll be well aware of when that's next going to happen. God, what was that awful volcano? That awful volcano event was in America years ago. I can't remember what it's called now. It killed many people, but that erupted quite spectacularly and without warning. Very scary. Right, so let's have a look, guys, at some charts. Let's see what charts are available here in Tokyo. Again, this is completely unplanned, untested. I don't know if any of this will work. I think if we do a straight-in approach runway... Well, I don't even know the orientation of the runways here. Let's have a look. I think is a huge airport. My goodness, yeah, charts galore. There's airport. My goodness, yeah. Well, if we do Saint Helena, that's the. Yeah, I remember watching that in geography at school. Oh yeah, Kathmandu blew off, and I think it was one of the most recent history ones, which is a huge explosion. But Saint Helena's the one I was referring to. So you come straight in runway 16 left. That approach will then take us over the city. So let's see what approaches they have available. 16 left. Right, so there's no transition from the north or west. Well, there is one via Laban. So if we select ILS 16 left, I did have a look at the stars earlier, and there's no stars that cater for coming in from the west here. So I don't know if they didn't realise you just get vectored. Now, let's have a little play with this. So, no, I can't remember how to get rid of this. I can never remember. Cancel. So, procedure, so select approach. Aha! I've just realised something. Last time we tried to do this, it crashed, remember? Right, direct to... I don't know, direct to Nagasaki. That's where we started, en route. Again, I don't know how much of this is working, or I've actually never done this before. I thought we'd do this together. Oh my goodness, they've got all the en route waypoints here. So how do I direct to... I want to choose... How do I close this now? Right. Haneda. Right, there we go. Runways. Can't select. Arrivals. I mean, these are all stars, which I don't want to fly. Oh my days. How do I... So I can't use the mouse wheel. How am I meant to use this? If I use the mouse wheel, it zooms, but then if I click to scroll it and let go, it selects the arrival. So how on earth? There's a scroll thingy on the right. Thanks. Oh my goodness. So I have to use this. Just click this, do I? Ah, there we go. Fair enough. Well, I don't know which one to select. There's so many. There's so... I need to check all the charts, but I remember checking them and there was no arrival which would bring us in via this direction. Let's try that one. That was just a complete guess. Godin. Load. Oh no, that's definitely not what we want. So all I want to do is route direct to Lorry. So here we have here, load and activate. Now how do I route direct to Lorry on the approach, which is on the extended centre line? So that's where I want to route direct to. Lorry or even Sandy, I could do a little 180 turn over the city. And now, how do I select that direct to Lorry? No, I don't want to route direct to Nagasaki. So flight plan, direct to Nagasaki, and or activate. No, I don't want to do that. How do I select direct to other one? Sandy should be good. Yeah, Sandy will be good. I want to route direct to Sandy, but how on earth? I can do it in heading select. Anyway, there's Tokyo coming up ahead, guys. Go back to the flight plan. Scroll down and pick your waypoint and go direct. How do I get back to my flight plan though? Active flight plan. Direct to. Do I have to click on it? On here? insert after. Sandy. Enter. My goodness, it's going to be that one 25 miles away. How do I activate that? No, not 516 miles away. I must apologise, guys, because this is Sandy. Direct to. Activate leg to waypoint. Ooh, what's that done? GPS Sandy, I've done it! I've done it! Even though it looks like a right mess on the MT. Oh god, I don't think that's going to work at all. How's it going to get to Sandy? What? I'm just going to use heading select, guys. I think we need to start our descent, really. So I'm going to go back to heading. I'm just gonna wing it. Vertical speed. I don't know. Oh yeah, hold on. Altitude. So what's the platform this approach? 4,000 feet. So let's go down to 4,000. Oops, minus. Right, 4,000 feet is set. Vertical speed. And down we go, 1,000 feet per minute. It's VFR, nothing. Scroll using the thing on the right again. I found the GPS that plays a bit quirky. Glass that plays bugged badly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to use it instinctively, and that's usually when you're using modern systems like that. If you do it instinctively, you usually get the result you want. But I think if we get a 4,000 feet visually in Sandy, it is the active waypoint. Look, Sandy, and the GPS is now aligned, so I'm guessing it would take us there pictorially, though. I don't know where it's going to take us after that. I just wanted to go from Sandy to Lorry. We're on a heading, going down though at 4,000 feet. I'm just going to add a little bit of power to maintain about 200 knots. I'm on heading selected, otherwise the aircraft's going to start turning. But yeah, anyway, here is Tokyo. I still want to have a play with this. I want to learn. I want to educate myself. Now I've just removed it. Right, procedures. ILS 16 left. Isn't there a way of just selecting, like, just the approach? Lose and activate. It's the arrival that I don't want to get. Move. Activate approach. Ah! Ha! Ah! That's good. I think we've done it. That's all I want. What? GPS Sandy, but it's behind me. Oh look, because it's a silly thing. It wants to go from behind me and then to Sandy. Why has it created a waypoint there? Oh my days. I think we're going to fly this conventionally. Oh my days. Right, anyway, back to the approach briefing. As we're going to fly this conventionally. Here is the ILS approach chart for runway 16 left, which we're going to fly when we eventually get there. ILS frequency is going to be 11195. Nav 1 frequency 11195. Transfer. No data. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to turn off GPS here. We're going to go all conventional. Nav 1. I'm going to put Nav 2. And we'll also tune the Nav 2 to this. Activate approach. I want to get out of this page. Nav 2 frequency 11135. Probably no 11195. No need to do this, but I'm tuning both boxes. So that's active. We can now close this.
and I want to change the CDIs here to nav1, nav2. I want to get rid of the central course. CDI source, lock what? There we go. So now that's tuned to the local. Look at that, we're just gone straight through the localizer for the approach. So now we're just going to basically use heading select to intercept onto the approach. And there is Tokyo, which we should see on the approach from runway 16 left. But you can see, look, it's still loading into the sim. It looks a bit, still looks a bit near. And I think the more people play online, the more difficult it is for the sim to load all this up. But I did have a bit of an FPS drop when this eventually did load in. Tanemon, what program we're using for those charts that would be extremely helpful? This is Navigraph Tanemon. It's a good investment if you really want to take your simming seriously. It's just under €10 a month and you have a full subscription to all of the charts available. In real life they use Jefferson charts at Navigraph, but they're pretty much identical to the real charts they're using in real life. Cool, so kind of vector, which is self-position, self-vector. I'm going to do it via Sandy in heading select and keep descending to 4,000 feet for the ILS. You can see, look, the performance is just slightly dropping. But overall, guys, yeah, the King Air's been a good fun. I've enjoyed flying it. Is it perfect? I can't tell you. I cannot tell you at all. But it looks to me there's a few little issues here and there. But it is a default aircraft, so no doubt we'll have a high-quality payware or hopefully freeware King Air available for you guys to use. But yeah, I mean, the systems, can you navigate here? Yeah, I don't know how to work any of these systems, and if there's a bug I wouldn't know, so I can't tell you if it is. But I've really enjoyed the flight anyway. It's been great looking at some of the visual elements of the things, but I'm going to look forward to coming back into Zero Mod, that's for sure. Let's make a left turn on our base leg. A very long final, to be fair, so we'll start reducing that rate. Now where are we going? What? Why are we turning right? It's because I turned it past 180. I'm quite sure it shouldn't do that. I mean, in the 7.3 you can pass past 180 and it doesn't start turning in the opposite direction. But hey ho, vertical speed, reduce that to 500 feet per minute. Guys, just about to join base leg for our approach into Tokyo. Stream's going as planned, expected to take about 3 hours. That will be after the stream because I do have to go get my dinner. But it's been great fun. Really enjoyed chilling out with you guys. And next time we do a VFR flight, I'll go online so you guys can join me as well. Do love the 3D model though. This aircraft, it does look spectacular. And guys asking, yeah, I mean the performance of the sim is okay. Bear in mind I've got no weather in the sim as well, something that's less for my PC to think about. But, looking good. Echo Mike November 738. Hello Captain, what do you have to say about maths and becoming a pilot? Yeah, you'll need to have core basic math skills, Echo Mike November 738. When you're doing your ATPL, you have to demonstrate sort of, you know, nothing more than GCSE mathematics. So if you're not in the UK, that's your standard curriculum for when you take your exams when you're 16. And then a lot of the stuff that we do in ATPL, we don't use on a day-to-day basis. So basic arithmetic, multiplying, dividing, but you'll need to know for when you're doing your studies, you know, basic things like fractions, decimals, bit of trigonometry, your cosines, especially when you're working out positions on Earth and latitudes, longitudes, and stuff like that. Put it this way, I only have the qualification for basic mathematics at GCSE level. I didn't study A-level mathematics. Didn't need to. Part of me wishes I had, because I think I've done better at maths otherwise, but I studied things that interested me. So yeah, that's it really. Right, maintaining around 200 knots at the moment then. Descent, want the RPM at around 1600, which is where they are at. torque's around 50%. You can turn it down low if you want to be flying slower. We'll then select approach flaps at around 180 knots when we turn final. We're just kind of cutting the corner here at Sandy. And there is Tokyo, so much of a city. Fancy teal boga. No boga today. Awesome. Yeah, I need to keep an eye out on VATSIM, see when they're doing any events in Japan. I really enjoy doing VATSIM flights for you guys on the network. It really allows me to practice doing what I do every day. So let's have a look here. Another 14-mile final, 15-mile final, so 15 times 3, 4,500 feet. I want to be at roughly 4,500 feet by the time I intercept the ILS. You can actually see, look, the glide slopes now are live. We're at 1 dot high. That's fine because we're not established yet. Hopefully when we turn final, we bang on glide slope. And I just manipulate the vertical speed to make sure we're all ready. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, yeah.
Nearly finished, don't worry.
Yay.
Trouble ahead. Why has it gone really quiet?
Pizza.
Do I want pizza?
Just pizza in the fridge.
Yes, please. Thanks. Tonight's getting even better.
You're not playing Xbox though.
Oh, it's Wednesday.
No.
Wednesday is the one night of the week I get up to play Xbox with my friends. Right, anyway, turning final. There comes the localizer there, turns the glide slope. Actually, a little bit late turning final. We're about to fly through the localizer, but bang on the glides. Oops, I did overshoot the centre line slightly. High plane barrier there. So I'll give us the sim heading slightly the other side. Start reducing that power now, and I'm going to go full on the RPM a bit early. And there's Tokyo now. You'll see my computer take a little bit of an FPS stutter as it loads all this in. You can see it's all a bit there, but I have flown around here at 100 knots. It does eventually load in. Right, that's a nice intercept heading. Let's now initially arm nav. There we are, localizer capture. So set runway heading, which is 157 degrees. Glide slope's getting a bit high, so I'm going to select a notch of flaps below 202 knots, which is the maximum speed for flaps approach. Increasing our vertical speed slightly now as well. We need to select a lower altitude, otherwise the aircraft's going to level off. Which it has done. Back to vertical speed. So vertical speed there, 1500 feet per minute. Gonna drop the gear as well, can we? Maximum gear extension speed is 184. Ooh, a bit fast. And next charted altitude, I'm going to set. Oh, now we're established on the localizer. I can actually set 1,000 feet. I can take the gear down, that's going to increase my drag. And the glide slope's coming in now as well. Bit too fast to take the final landing flap, but here comes the glide slope. And there is Tokyo. There's the glide slope coming in now, so arm approach, glide slope capture, aggressively. There we are, so gear down, approach flaps, we can select landing flap at 158 knots, so speed's coming back, 160. Seems to be flying the ILS quite accurately. Yeah, it's loading in now, look, you can see it fly quite close, but in the distance, now it looks much better. It takes a while for it just to load in sometimes. That could be a combination of my internet speed, other people using it. But yeah, you can see the FPS performance is very good. Good select landing flap now. And then we'll reduce speed to about 110 knots. What if you had an engine failure now, Listerman? I'd actually continue the approach. In the 7.3, if you have an engine failure on final, your visual, you can see the runway, you can continue, as long as you can maintain your final approach speed with the remaining thrusts, but it's beneficial to do that. Right. Now let's turn the music off and concentrate here. Let's disconnect, about 110 knots, final approach speed. Yeah, look at the flight rate, it is jumping up and down a little bit there. Right, anyway. Autopilot's disconnected. And here's Tokyo Haneda. Tad high on the speed, so I'm just going to bring that power back a little bit. Looking good. Easy as it can be today. No speed. Sorry, no wind bumping the aircraft around too much. There's a little bit of turbulence in the sim. The minimum is 219 feet. The missed approach is 4,000 feet as well. So we should set that on the MCP. There we go. Dear, centerline tracking is a bit off. A bit low on the glide slope now as well. Just going to readjust my seat position here. That's good. Back on the vertical profile, keep descending. Listerman, you... Good. So 3 whites, tad high. Ground speed's at 110 knots, so we need to be maintaining around 550 feet per minute to stay on the glide slope. Simple mental maths. 5 times your ground speed is the required rate of descent for a 3-degree ILS. There's the 500 call from Jim. Speed's okay, tad high perhaps, but on glide, on localizer. Keep it descending. There's the marker. Don't see many of those around these days. Looking good. Looks like there's a crosswind in the sim. There's the threshold at 50 feet. Got the power. And gently flare. Hold the attitude. Oh my goodness, it does not want to sit down. Come on. What a float! Okay. There's the runway. God blimey. That was a float and a half. Just did not want to settle down. Wow. Yeah, if I did that work, I'd have some explanations to do. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tokyo Haneda. Oh, well, there you go. Well, that was a very abrupt end of the flight, but there you go. Another flight logged in my Microsoft Flight Simulator logbook. Wasn't expecting that. There you go. Textron Aviation Beechcraft King Air 350. Departed at 15:52, landed at 18:40, 2 hours 48. 1 takeoff, 2 landings. That was for the touch and go. Yeah, that's a total of 44 takeoffs and 65 landings. That'll be all those landing challenges, perhaps, I managed. But yeah, guys, that's it. I hope you found that enjoyable. Again, it's something a little different, and I hope you guys don't mind me doing something a little bit of fun. For me personally, I really enjoy these streams. Something a little bit different. We'll be doing a few other bits on Microsoft Flight Simulator, but we'll be sticking with the commercial airline stuff on X-Plane for now. Next stream, maybe something on Friday, I'll see. Saturday, something for the members. It's our members only stream this weekend. And then next public stream, if it's not Friday, will be Monday or Tuesday in either Zebo or the FlyJ Sim, or maybe something else, but it'll most likely be Explain 11. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash the thumbs up, subscribe as well to stay up to date with the latest content. Check that link out at the top of the chat as well if you want to see all the streams we've done so far. I always try and keep it as educational as possible. But guys, would appreciate the feedback in the comments section as well regarding the King Air, especially because I'm quite interested to know how accurately those engines were modelled, or the flight model as well. It seems a bit broken for me personally, but again, that might be my lack of knowledge of turboprop aircraft. Anyway, from myself and Mariana, we'll see you all soon again.
Thank you.
Thank you all for the continued support. It's all very well, much appreciated. Bye bye for now.